Thanks for everybody for coming to the last school board meeting of the year. Let's see, we have review of the manifest, which I believe everybody signed already. Minutes, we need a motion to accept the public and non-public minutes of May 14th and the public and non-public minutes for May 28th.
I'll make that motion.
I have a second.
I'll second it.
Any discussion on those?
And I have like barely any notes for this one.
I know it's pretty kind of nice.
I know, it's very weird.
So I will, I always have to remember what to say. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Abstained. I wasn't here last month.
All right, I was getting to that. I would get to that. Any opposed? And Wayne abstains. Okay. Citizens' comments. Is there anything from the crowd today at this point in the meeting? There'll be another option at the end of the meeting. Nobody here? Anybody online?
Donna, do you have any comments or Michael?
Nope, I'm all set, thank you.
Thank you.
No, I'm all set. Thank you.
Thank you.
I was gonna say that must be Deb because
Yeah,
Michael's in the
I know.
room.
Mike's here, so that's-
Yeah, oh, you're welcome. I didn't make them, but I paid my friend to do it.
That is smart.
Yeah.
So April's like, so thank you.
Yeah, so thank you.
Sorry, Mike's back to take my credit.
All right, student presentation, portrait of a learner. Mrs. Thompson.
Thank you. Maria's going to bring up a short slideshow. We have two students here that are going to present. It looks like I'm going to take over for the ones that aren't here. If I can take. But I just want to go over the process with you a little bit of what we went through. So we're at the end of the year. We're on time to finish out our portrait work. We chose this first visual because we feel like we're at the beginning stages and the plants were just starting to grow, just as the portrait will. The process was, as you know, we did the work last year, and then this year was definitions, getting kids more involved. We have had meetings where at the end you'll see a whole group of students' names that were involved in helping us come up with the definition. And then we had two brave souls, which I want to give a shout out to middle schoolers who decided to show up when the high schoolers were too scared to come to this. So
Good job.
Very cat.
So next slide, Maria. And I apologize. I think the next one. Yeah. So there's not a picture on there, and there should have been. But anyways, the portrait is really what the kids have decided that they want the skills to be every student to have when they graduate from Hinsdale as defined by them. So I'm going to let them take it from here, and we're going to go to the next slide. And you know what our 5 traits are, but I'm going to let them talk about it. Either of you have critical thinking or the ones that okay, well, I guess I'm going to take it. So the definition process they went through is we had them take each trait and break into groups of all different grade levels and talk about what they thought each trait meant to them as a Hinsdale student. And then we fine-tuned, we did another round where we fine-tuned, and then there was a group of students who took the fine-tuning and put it into words that they thought fit what they believed to be what these traits all meant. So that should have been the first slide. Okay. Can we go back to critical thinking? Yeah. So this is their definition: the ability to think deeply and reflectively in important situations, as well as thinking creatively to solve tasks at hand. That was what they came up with. I think in this one particularly, they struggled around making sure creativity and reflection was in there, and they weren't sure how to put it into one big, beautiful statement. But that's what they came up with. And it was really important to them to have creativity in there, which I thought was interesting. That wasn't one of the traits, but it's one of the things that they wanted to have in there in the critical thinking. So we'll go on to the next slide. Collaboration. Did either of you have collaboration? So can you introduce yourself and then go ahead and talk about the collaboration?
My name is Heidi, and I got collaboration. The ability to communicate and understand others with a similar end goal in mind, which discuss the situation and common issues and or challenges.
Hey, what did you think of the process?
Um,
Oh, yeah.
the
Make sure
process
it's on.
where like they come together with their own opinions and they got like a saying in what their goal was, and they would communicate with one another to help understand what the challenge or issues were.
Thank you. All right, we're gonna go to the next one. Holly, was that you?
Yeah.
Okay, Molly, can you take one?
Character is the overall understanding of who you are and how others interpret you.
Molly, was that an easy one to get to? Was that definition easy for you guys to get to?
I don't think it was very easy because I think we had a lot of ideas of things it could be, and I think it's a very wide range of definitions.
Yeah.
Plus.
Yeah, so that one was a tough one for them. They had a lot of different definitions, but that's what they ended up on. And I think they did a great job with that one, because that one created the most discussion for them overall. So we'll go to the next one. Communication. Are you taking communication? Okay.
Communication is to converse among others in a respectful and responsible manner to show a basic understanding.
That one seems pretty easy to you guys, right? I feel like that process was a little easier to get to the communication one. Yeah. Because you were communicating all together. I think what the beauty was, they had high schoolers with middle schoolers all sharing conversations together, and it had very different ideas of what each of these were. So, and the last, essential life skills. I'll take this one. I think this was a really, really difficult one for them, because what they did was they came up with a list of life skills that we all heard last year and this year. Doing taxes, knowing a checkbook, being able to make change, those kind of things, but that's not the definition. So that was really hard for them, and they felt like, how do we just put a list on here, or do we sort of encapsulate what this all is? So they had a long discussion and went back and forth. That group ended up not being able to come up with final wording, but putting together some pieces, and we wordsmith together. And this is the ability to enable individuals to deal effectively with the demands and challenges of everyday life. And so I felt like they came up with, that was a really good definition for that one. And they would like to still have every definition in there, but it's all the different things, but it's just too much. So. And ta-da, that is the final portrait that the students voted on. I'll show you both of them that came out. This is this one. That's the winning one. And this was the other one, but the students voted. This was one. This was two that you see up there, and this was the winner that got voted on. What we're doing is we're bringing this to Elite Vinyl is working with us to fine tune it a bit so that you can see the whole word pacers, so that you can see these a little bit differently. So this will look a little different when the graphic designers get done with it, but they're just working on that now. So that was done by 11th grade students.
Yes, yeah, team in the leadership class.
In the leadership class. So, but the whole student body voted on it.
Nice.
So we are at the stage now where once the board approves these definitions and feels like this is ready to move forward, we will then roll this out with teachers and how do we actualize the portrait in classrooms in everything we do next year. We'll start working with Elite Vinyl to get this visual once it's completed, and that will become part of our letter, part of everything we do. It'll be on the website, it'll be everywhere. So I guess now, first of all, I just want to thank the kids because they did a great job in really working together and taking time to work on these and to work on definitions. And it was not easy for middle schoolers to sit in rooms with high schoolers as these were sort of taking over, but they were great giving their input. Matter of fact, I would guess that they have a little more input than high school students. So yeah, that's our thank you. And the list of kids is on the next slide, I believe, of all the students that were involved in the final pieces of work. And they were all worked really hard at it. So we appreciate their work, and we're ready to move forward if the board is ready to move forward.
Great. I love it. I love the definitions that they came up with. They were very accurate, I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the logo is cool. I
Yeah, I
like
think
it.
it's gonna be nice once we can tidy it up just a little bit.
Yeah. Do we need to accept it, or just, we don't have to take any action on it?
No, you do not.
Great, perfect.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah.
Love the
job.
definitions.
I know, good job.
Nice job.
Great.
They don't want to, but you're welcome to say it. Very exciting.
Take a cupcake with you on
Yeah,
the way
take your
out.
cupcake with you.
Grandpa will lead the way. Let's go warm up the car.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Excuse me.
Our student board member couldn't make it tonight, so I don't know if she gave anybody anything. Okay, perfect. All right, then we're into the reports, the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We are at the end of the year, and that means that things are wrapping up, one of which you'll note in the report was our Bravely work. I'm sad to say we were not approved for year 2.
No,
Yeah.
That's right. They don't know what they're missing.
that's right.
That's so, yeah, that's such a bummer. I really
And
figured.
Teresa's here in the room because she helped us with the work, certainly with Karen and Hannah and Suzanne O'Neill. And then Brittany Howard and Jillian Perzan were on the team with us. It just got to be a lot because of the school day and such, but did a lot of good work in moving ourselves toward a redesign of our approach to middle school. I did include some links in there for you to review. So if you had you should have had a live link that I sent to you. And so you had an opportunity to take a look at that. The work will continue. It's just a matter of finding where that funding will come from for the professional learning. It's all now about having our middle school teachers learn how to use the content to teach the students the skills that you just saw, the portrait of a learner as they move up through middle school and into high school. So more on that as we go forward. Strategic planning work will continue. We want to give you a much better product than what the timeline would have produced. We just, as a team, decided we just need some more time to dig in with strategy to develop not more refined goals, but really iron out what are going to be some of the specific smaller goals that we need to hit as we move forward the next 3 to 5 years. There are some pretty heavy hitter ideas in there.
Definitely.
One of which, though, from the community relations, is the Hinsdale Goes Back to School event that is designed to bring. It started out really as a conversation about how do we ensure we can get more registrations and free and reduced lunch forms in from our families to, but what if we offer them food and bring them here on campus and we have them come for a back to school night? We do backpacks that are stuffed with office supplies. We do back to school haircuts, that we have music going, that families get to see each other. We bring them in through the front. We give them the option of filling it out by hand or doing it online with technology. Having athletic signups for those latecomers, people that want to get into athletics that didn't think about it. Getting HASP there, getting PTA, PTSA there. So creating an opportunity for all of our clubs and activities also to have tables out for parents to have their kids get involved. But also a great opportunity for the board to be there working the crowd, glad handing, kissing babies. And really just kind of celebrating coming back to school as a community, involving our friends from town hall and the community and bringing them up. If we can get a Tucker truck up there, we can get the loud horns from the fire engines going, we can certainly do that. We'd love to get a cruiser up there with the lights going. We've already recruited our SRO to be there. Just make it exciting to come back to school. And the irony is we worked on this last week and we already sent information on the school year's not over.
Yeah.
And Erica was going to put up on the electronic sign out by the road, and we all thought that would be great. And then we're like, maybe we'll wait till after graduation.
Maybe let this year in.
Like, come on, let's finish this year first. But as you can tell, we're pretty excited about it. All of which will be sponsored by small businesses, large businesses, nonprofits in the community. Gina Woodbury, as you know, is with the Lions, and she's talking with the Lions tonight about a large donation to take care of the backpacks for us.
Oh, wow.
So we'll be working with Walmart, we'll be working with the banks in the area. And so the stylists will be donating their time to do back to school haircuts.
No, that's such
We
a great idea.
Briefly talked about back
I
to
know.
school clothes, those just kind of working through. We have a committee of how many people, Mr. Roth? I think about 7 or 8 ish. And so everyone's working on their specific tasks. We did give Sam Killeley the food task.
He's up for the
Is it
job.
gonna make it?
Yeah.
He might find hot dogs. It might be hot dogs.
I knew that if I lobbed that out there, somebody hit a home run with it. We also know that Mrs. Killeley will be helping. So I think.
Yeah.
Poor Erica.
I know.
Yeah,
Quit
really.
giving
That was
Sam
some slow
jobs.
pitch softball.
Right,
I know.
moved it for you. And a couple of other items, data studio training, which is free to us for the next couple of years at least. It's called Pear Deck, which is a larger education software platform. What I was able to do with student data was beyond what I was able to do with Performance Plus, which was the old data mining warehouse that the state had provided. Our data wasn't in there yet for some reason, and one of the engineers was there, and they were working on that. I have not gone back to see if it's there. So I used Winchester's, and what I was able to create and send to you was easy. It's point and click. You don't have to be a quantitative scientist or a statistician to figure out some of this information. If you want to know what are the 3 standards in our English language arts curriculum in grade 3 that our kids are struggling with most, you can actually just type that in and it will produce that for you.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
So then
Very,
classroom
very
teachers can zero in
beneficial.
and
Yeah.
find out which students didn't perform well so they can do the intervention work. So there's a whole bunch of work that we can do. It was a full day sponsored by the Department of Ed. And I got to be back on campus up at Plymouth for a day, so that was kind of fun. And lastly, no need to tell you, there's a lot going on in Concord.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I shared with you a link to all the bills that have been passed thus far, a lot of which are education bills that we're focused on. 2 that I wrote to you yesterday, as well as the Winchester Board regarding consolidation of SAUs into 12 county districts and 2 municipal districts, that being Manchester and Nashua. And the open enrollment bill that they have yet to sign, but have not assigned a study committee to. They did for the SAU bill, but not the open enrollment. I think I and as Patty Wallace and I talked today, probably 100 other people have been hitting up state reps and senators you really need to study these 2 items together because one really impacts the other. Imagine consolidating a district, so Cheshire County, having 1 superintendent,
Oh, that's such wild behavior.
and then having open enrollment where students can just enroll wherever they wish,
Yeah.
and not having the details to support, well,
How do you do anything?
who does the
How do you budget
superintendent
for
report
that?
to?
Yeah.
Who does the superintendent report to at the local level? Is that superintendent going to all of those local school board meetings?
It's about to be a really busy
Really
human.
busy.
And if not, then who? So are you now hiring an intermediary to do that work? And
Right.
so
At least
is it
an
gonna be more
assistant.
expensive?
Right.
None of the details have been ironed out. It's just a great idea because other
Yeah,
states do
let's
it.
do it.
So,
We're so spread out too. Like, how do you make that happen?
and because I like to get into knee deep with that kind of work, I volunteered to be on that study committee. Whether or not they give me the time of day, I have no idea.
Hopefully they will.
Because out here in the Southwest,
We
Yeah.
don't exist.
That was
so we'll wait and see.
Yeah.
But I did today get the School Boards Association sample policy for the spring, which includes the most recent passed legislation. So policy in August.
Yeah.
I've been so excited.
It's going to be a half day. Like,
Yeah.
we were like a retreat. It's going to be so fun.
Right? Bring a
Update
backpack.
about all
I
the
think we
page
should
turners
meet
we're
like
gonna be able to
Sleeping
read.
bag, 10
Next
down.
week.
We are.
I got it in my calendar.
We
What
are.
day is
And
it?
I have probably 8 or 9 policies that we'll go over, which are light lifts.
What day is that?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, that's next Tuesday. Is that the 17th? That's at 10 a.m.
Okay, I've got that right.
And you'll
here.
have some of those, you'll have those in your mailbox by the weekend.
Oh, it's Tuesday the 17th?
It
No,
is.
she's just hearing about this for the first time. So no.
Are
Should I
you-
We
put
talked
that in my
about it
calendar?
the last
No,
meeting.
that one got canceled.
I'm not here. I'll be in Lebanon.
We'll come to Lebanon.
I love that.
Okay, so I don't have to put it in my
Sounds
calendar.
great.
Sounds great. It'll be great.
How come I didn't get that email? Let me go into my email.
Oh,
In your calendar.
Buenas. Zippity zip zip over there.
We can do the 24th if you want. These, we don't have to meet because we're not even gonna take action on them as a board until the August
August.
meeting anyway.
Well, the 24th would be great for me.
Well, whatever's best for you.
That's what I like
It's
to
the
hear.
Kendra show. We're just all.
That's what I like to hear.
So maybe Maria, we could reschedule the 24th. Does that work for principals?
It works for me. I can't speak for Dr. Gardner.
Okay. What's the PD on the 24th,
It's
Karen?
leave alone.
Oh, it's leave alone day. Well, it sounds like leaving everyone alone.
Sounds like the perfect time.
Except-
Me alone.
Yeah,
Apparently
except for
not,
you
nor
guys.
Dr. Bremner. So, yeah, hour,
You'll
hour
just
and
let-
15 max,
Okay, I like it.
10 a.m. Kayla, what are you doing
bringing
on
breakfast?
I know
Tuesday,
the
the 24th at 10
24th
a.m.?
sounds like it'll be a big
Breakfast.
Perfect.
Brunch?
What are you gonna do when
Fine,
you
I'll
get a
make
real
a quiche.
full-time job?
Right, yeah.
Um,
Screwed.
Make a mean quiche.
So we'll have about 8 or 9 policies that are pretty light lifts for the August meeting for us to come together and work on. And so that, I mean, that concludes the report. I did get a good piece of news today. We did get our preliminary allocation for Title I funding, where a lot of people in the state are worried about what that amount's gonna be because of the cuts that are taking place at the federal level. We actually saw an increase of $26,000.
Good.
And so that's testament to the work of Jeannie Sturgis, to our folks working in Title I, Paula, certainly Karen, people who are organizing that work, making good use of the money, organizing and managing the grants for us. So kudos to them, because down in Winchester, we had a reduction of 11,000. But we'll get our act together down there. We'll be right back in it next year. So.
As long as it's not coming away from here.
No,
Right, yeah.
I take it from Keene.
There we go.
So that's the extent of the report for this last meeting of the year.
Does anybody have any questions for Dr. Ryan?
I just love the color-coded report, the sample. I was like, oh, it's just so easy to, you could just look at it and know.
It was fun. I don't say that a lot about data
See,
platforms.
I always.
I
think
mean, I
that is
geek out on
fun.
data, but when it comes to these clunky
Yeah,
machines,
yeah.
it's never easy to draw stuff out. And this was the real deal.
And is that eventually going to be something we have to pay for?
Perhaps.
'Cause I was like, free for a few years, kind of sounds like they're gonna reel us in and then make us pay for
Right.
it.
we're
Yeah,
gonna
it
love
might
and
be
then-
the bait and switch
Mhm.
where Paradex says, no, we'll let you have it for free still if you buy this. That might be the end result in 2 years. But with the new commissioner, who's a data wonk herself, is that she may extend it. We don't know. We'd like to. We'll have to wait and see. So, thank you.
Well, thank you. Business administrators report.
Madam Chair, members of the board, you have my report. I will have an action item tonight in that I need to have the board approve paying down the food service balance, which you're technically only paying a portion, because if you remember last year, we paid a little over 35,000. The balance is just under 49,000. When I sent this, it was $35 left to go to hit 49,000. Now it's about 800. So at least it went
Oh,
down.
that's good.
We did send an email out district-wide. I'm sure Facebook will lighten up. Okay.
I haven't seen anything, but I haven't
Just
done
trying to get
Facebook
these,
either.
because I think 49,000 is
A
not
lot of
worth
money.
it for a district this size.
Mhm. Do we want to take that action now?
Sounds good.
So I need a motion to, what's the wording? move-
To approve funding or paying down the food service debt for the food service books of up to $15,000.
$15,000. So I'll make that
I'll make that
motion.
motion.
Second,
I'll
Second, second.
Oh, Mark can
yeah,
second.
fight over it. Move
Mark
on.
can have it.
We'll let Maria decide.
Yeah.
Any discussion on it? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved.
I will let you know the final number that I move over, because I won't know till June 30th, but I'll be making the transfer that day.
So next year, if this happens, it would be more, because we already had 35.
I think it depends on what we budgeted for it, right?
So
I
next
budgeted another
year,
15 for next year.
Yeah.
okay, so we could be looking at a big chunk of change at the end of the year.
I'm hoping not. I'm being very public about this. I am turning some accounts over to collections. They have had letters, they have had emails. They've had, in some cases, discussion with me. Anybody who did call me and has made an effort to make payments. I will not proceed against, but I am taking at least 5 families to small claims court.
Nice.
So, and there will be more over the summer. It's only so much I can do. I've
Right.
only asked people to start making payments, and
Right.
I know you got the letter, no, you got the email, so I can't, there's nothing I can do.
Yeah, almost.
It does take a while too. Small claims court's about 6 to 8 weeks behind for Cheshire County, but I'm pretty persistent.
Yeah.
You should-
One of our hopes is with the indication of the increased Title I funding, which is based on socioeconomics or poverty levels. It's an indicator that shows that perhaps has risen in the community,
Yeah.
as well as the Hinsdale goes back to school, being able
Right.
to secure more. We're gonna ask everyone to fill one out as they go in, so there's no stigma, there's no distinction, because it's gonna be used as a raffle ticket to win prizes inside. So everyone fill one out, drop it in, and then we'll be able to raffle it off, so nobody knows, because everyone's doing it.
Right.
All the cool kids are doing it, and then that way there could be an increase in the number of people who are receiving free or reduced lunch, which would decrease the amount of money that people would have to spend on meals.
Which would be good for them.
That's a goal.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, as a result of the letters that went out, even though some people did not contact me, they did contact the state and are now free. However, they
Great,
still
good.
have a big balance. You know, nothing I can do. But I am glad they at least went in that direction, so.
Got a question from Teresa.
I do have a question. I don't mean to speak out of turn,
Uh-huh.
so I can wait or,
Is it about what we're talking about?
yes.
Okay, go ahead.
So I do know that sometimes those forms are really hard for people to fill out because they don't understand all of them. So if there's extra people who are could be an assistance to be able to help them, if we're asking everyone to fill them out, that would be really helpful because sometimes that's overwhelming for people. So, I mean, I don't know what I'm doing on the 18th, but I think if we have extra people there that are willing to be able to help those who need the assistance would be a really good idea.
And there's nothing we can do if, for people who have a balance and have now been approved for free and reduced lunch, because if they're approved for that, they're probably, a balance might be something they can't handle.
Which I understand, but the negative letters don't help me. And it shouldn't take me reaching out saying, hello, enough's enough, before you take an action. And I'm, you know, I'm sorry, and I know that sounds unkind, but these are some
I mean, and we're
major
willing,
balances that
we're
it's
willing to
taken
take
years
anything
of ignoring
can
to
afford.
accumulate.
to start paying a plan on it, pretty much. I would
Well,
And that's
assume.
all I
Yeah.
ask, just start making payments.
What are some of the monetary amounts that we're looking at here? Is it thousands of dollars?
Yes.
It is.
It
Geez,
is, Mark, which is
Really?
several years, yes.
really?
Yes. So small claims, I'll pay $90 for each one I file. I'm only filing the larger ones. Collections will just get turned over.
Turnover.
Yeah, there's a company here in New Hampshire I'll be using. Once those are turned over, those actually come right off our books. Small claims, however, will not, because that will be a court decision that does that. So. We don't make alternative meals. We don't deny anybody, and we won't.
Yeah, we used to, we
But,
stopped doing
it,
that.
you know, these aren't like, your email would be bouncing back if you weren't getting it, to
Right.
say, you're negative, you're negative, you're negative, you're negative. So.
Yeah.
Stand their ground on it. I know it's a tough conversation,
Yes.
but we need to stand it.
But I have sent out applications to people. I have sent the state website. I'm doing everything I can. If someone says I can only do $25, I said, absolutely fine.
Perfect.
I just need you to start making payments. You might be still eating $50 or $60 a month, but it's getting in the right direction.
That was my next question. If they're willing to work
Yes,
with us.
absolutely.
Okay, okay.
Absolutely.
And we have
Right.
a question.
You want to take this question now? Let's go.
Can you see it, Jane?
It
says,
You
On those currently planned small claims cases, what's the dollar value of the currently planned actions?
Not sure what the question is, but it's $90 for me to file it. I will not be filing anybody under $400.
Hey, can you hear me?
will go to collections.
Yeah.
Yeah, here you can.
I'll clarify it. So what I'm asking is, of those people that you're going to put into small claims, what dollar amount are we looking at for the amount that they hold as balances? That may more clarify.
I have some that are well over 1,000, and in some cases, a family has double that. The only balance, Alex, that I'm actually looking to collect at this point was June 30th of 2024. Those people that I proceeded or have been in touch with via all sorts of means, made absolutely no payments during the 24-25 year, which is why they were reached out to. If anybody, I went through every negative account and looked at every transaction. So if they had made any payments during that time, I did not contact them. So I still have some people with some very large balances, but at least they were making payments. So I left that alone for now.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any more questions for Jane?
And I did just want to make note, the last item on my report was our training certificate of completion for the building operator certificate level 1 training. And that is, again, Nate Woodrow stepping out and really getting himself familiar with our facilities.
Yeah.
Nice.
And everything.
Yes, congratulations, Nate.
And he loves the attention.
I know he does.
Loves it when we sing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That's why I didn't show up.
I know, he's like, so I'm not gonna be there if you're gonna talk
Sorry.
about
He's
me.
You're gonna
both
talk
fingers
about
up right
me.
now.
I know. All right, any more for Jane? We're good. Director of Academics and Career Readiness.
Madam Chair and members of the board, you have my report. I would like to thank you all for your support with the mentor dinner. April, thank you for being there. And there, of course, as a parent in the position. It was just great to see it back again. We had a lot of teachers that were, we got a lot of feedback, just grateful to see the kids out there doing it again. You know, again, it was the first time kids are really back doing big exhibitions, so they have a ways to go, but I was particularly proud of them at the mentor dinner when they gave their speeches, and I really felt like the speeches this year were so heartfelt. And so
Made me cry.
I know, they were really quite heartfelt. So that was just really nice. And the mentors just really stepping up and saying, what more can they do for our kids? So that's really nice to have a community partnership. And yeah, you have the rest of the information in my report. There's a lot of information about curriculum work this year, but I wanted to tie up all the loose ends of the things that have been happening. I will say, when we talk about student agency, I did a little reflection on that and just seeing all the ways that student agency is starting to be sprinkled into all the work we're doing. And you heard the kids talk about that they had a voice, they had a chance to share what they wanted to the table. So that's been really nice to see unfold this year.
Can you tell me a little bit more about the Keene State College thing?
Yeah, so Dr. Ryan and I are in conversations with Keene State College around offering professional development for teachers coming in on SOEs. So the SOE process is pretty intensive. And what we're seeing is there's two sets of competencies that teachers need to meet: their content area competencies and their professional ed competencies. The professional ed competencies have been difficult to find ways for our teachers to meet them. Content area, they can do content training, but the professional ed are much more broad. Keene State has courses that specifically tie to the and an agreement with the Department of Ed that if teachers take these courses, if teachers on SOEs take them, they can check the boxes on their SOEs to fill in their professional ed. And we would like to bring that here as something that we ask all of our new people to do, just because we want to grow strong teachers. So we've met with Keene State. The other thing, the other nice caveat to that, the carrot that for teachers is they can get grad credit for that. They can get, am I right?
You're 100%.
How many credits? Like,
6, 3 per course, so it's 2 courses.
So, and that will put them right into, if they want to go right into the Masters for Curriculum
Okay.
program, they can count those classes as part of their program for their Masters of Curriculum.
Special ed, just putting it out there.
I know.
Oh, okay, or special ed.
Always
okay.
advocate.
So it does
That's
work
good.
for both. That's
That's
great.
good.
The two of
Because
them
it's
do-
professional standards, so yes.
Yeah, good.
So, we're actually just had another conversation with them today via email with Dr. Ryan.
Set up
and
more time, yeah.
to set up our next meeting to see if we can get that going, so that any teacher that comes in, anybody that we hire in on a SOE, or for that matter, anybody that we think could benefit from a teaching and learning class,
Mhm.
we'll be able to offer that to them.
Nice.
And it will be a cohort that we hope we can do with Winchester. So they require us to have a certain amount of people.
Mhm.
With Winchester's amount of teachers and ours that we need, I think we're gonna be able to do.
Oh, good.
The opportunity for the monthly seminar as
Yeah.
well
Yes.
for teachers to come together and, just let their head down, share, struggles, successes, questions, opportunity to talk out things that have taken place in their school day. And I mean, it's up to 15 teachers total. So we would have 15, up to 15 between the two districts for a grand total of $16,000.
Wow, that
Yeah.
is like free.
So
Yeah, right?
each of the teachers gets their
Wow.
6 graduate credits. They get to satisfy all of the competencies for the professional ed standards. So SOE or otherwise, that's a bargain.
Wow, that's a big, big bargain. man.
Yeah.
Just
From
gonna
Keene
help us-
State.
Yeah. It's just gonna help us with, really helping our teachers with instructional practices in the classroom. That's what those two courses are
Right.
really about. Particularly for people who are coming out from a bachelor's degree without teaching experience. That's where we need the most help.
Great.
I have a question too. On the ELO, can you explain that to me a little bit more? Does the student decide where he's going to do an extending learning opportunity, or is there like certain businesses that let you know ahead of time that like we have openings? How does that work?
Both. So
Okay.
because we've been doing it for a long time, we have a partnership with a lot of businesses.
Okay.
That will say to us, yeah, we're gonna take kids. Every business relays information to, they're willing to do things at a different level. Some might say, I only want one kid and I only want them for 1 day a week. Some will say, oh, give me 3 kids, I'll do 3 different, it depends on what they're able to do, what they're willing to do. Students typically, now that it's been in existence long enough, students come to me or whoever, maybe it's their advisor, to talk about ELOs with an idea already in mind. Some of them come with a place already in mind. Some of them come and say, I want to do an ELO in construction and I want to work with this construction company. And I've already talked to them. That makes my job really easy.
Right.
But some of them come and say, I don't know. This is typically what we get. I'd like to do a ELO in, I want to be a doctor.
Mhm.
So then we talk about what does that mean? What kind of experience have they had? And then we obviously can't put them in an operating room, but we can say, let's look in the healthcare field and get them exploring all the different options that might be in the
Right.
healthcare field to build them up to something. So it's really individual for each student. But as I said, I think most kids now have seen exhibitions. They know different places that take kids and they come with that idea in mind. They come
Right.
knowing.
Okay.
Next year, we have our first time a student that wants to do a ELO at a funeral home. I've
Nice.
done that one before, but I have a funeral home who has called me to say, please, we don't have anybody coming into this field. Can you give us kids? I'm like, well.
Maybe.
What do you mean?
Right, yeah.
Is it a dying field?
I was just hoping,
That was such a
I was hoping, I know that we've had an ELO student that got with the police department, but I wish that there was more of them that got involved in more municipalities.
So we
Yeah.
have them at the
We
town,
have,
they come at the
actually.
town hall too.
Oh,
done
yeah, they have been
things
at the
there.
town hall.
But
Well, I'm
yeah,
talking highway and transfer
I know.
station
It's
and,
like, give me
yeah,
a
We have one with Mayor Khan and Keene next year.
really,
Yeah.
really, that's cool. That's good.
yeah, so.
Oh, that's cool.
Absolutely, I think our kids don't know what they don't know. So when they come and they say they want to do something in construction, they don't realize that could mean that there's opportunities
Right.
in the highway for that, right? There's ways to work into that or ways to do other things. We could put them with
Ways
Wayne.
of
I know
it,
Wayne would love to take more.
Oh, that'd be some education.
Yeah.
I'd like to have one down the transfer.
Yeah,
station. I would love.
That's what I was thinking you were asking for.
Yeah, yeah, I'd
Like,
love
uh,
that.
free
I'd love
Yeah.
that.
I have one in.
That's fun. That would be fun to have somebody. Yeah, that would be a blast. Anyways, thank you.
Yeah, sure.
I'll shut up.
I'm gonna be sure to send a student your way.
All right, cool.
Next year, this time you're gonna be saying, thank you, Karen,
Yeah.
or not.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Any more questions for Karen? All right, we're into the principal's reports. Anna, we'll do yours first.
Chair, members of the board, you have my report. It's very short because there's not a lot going on.
It's very quiet.
Brain space that I had to write a report right now. Gearing up, obviously, for we had our award assembly last Friday, which used to be at night, but we moved it to during the day because I really wanted the other kids to be inspired by the outcomes that can happen when you put in effort and hard work and stay curious. So that went really well. And then obviously Friday is class day and Saturday is graduation. Today was our first rehearsal. It was a little rough. The kids and I came into it with different expectations. I had to learn some things that they were expecting and wanted to have happen. And I let them know that that's what we always have done, is not allowed in my vocabulary. But I think it went well, and I told them, like, listen, it's your graduation and I want you to be happy with how it looks. So let's just make sure that we're organized and everybody knows where they're supposed to be and when. So we'll have another rehearsal tomorrow, and Erica will be back, thank God, and she will help me.
She'll whip them into shape.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she gave me the script and told me I could write on it, so I don't know if she's gonna be happy about that.
She's gonna be mad at you tomorrow.
She is.
She didn't mean.
When they're
She said she
cartwheeling
liked
down the aisle, she's gonna be so mad at you.
That might work better.
Yeah, the walking was.
Yeah, the walking was rough.
We did have a fifth grade move up last week, which went really well. I tapped our sixth graders to lead tours and sit on a panel. I gave the kids on the panel, I gave them topics, and they came up with their own notes with Teresa's help, and they did a fantastic job. They were thoughtful about it, and they were mature and represented themselves well. I was walking around during the tours, and one student was standing under a speaker and was like, and these are the speakers that the announcements come from. And I was like, that's perfect. Exactly the detail that they need. It was really good. I was really proud of them, and I think it went well. The kids or parents that I've talked to said that their kids appreciated it. I had one mom in tears. Like, I haven't heard my kid excited about school in a long time.
Good.
Oh, good.
Nice.
So that was good. We hired a guidance counselor, so
Yay.
that's very exciting. That one I thought was going to be a challenge. We have some other challenging spots to fill, French and computer science in particular, and in addition to the list since I wrote this report. So some hiring challenges ahead, but I am going to stay positive and hopeful, and the right people will step out. So that's what I got.
Any questions?
And that was enough.
I have a question. Graduation, when do they make a decision if it's inside or outside?
I hope they make it soon, Mark.
You? Is that you? Oh, you make that.
In consultation with.
I didn't know. I thought you made the decision.
Yeah, Anna and I will be looking at the weather forecast tomorrow night. Right now, not looking so good.
No, it's not looking good.
We have different weather models that we look at, so.
It's weird, is it Android and
Yes, it is,
iPhone?
because it's down to 70% rather than 87.
So I use science.
You sign it.
And I think Anna uses Dora the Explorer app.
The sun comes up. Yes, it
But
does.
last year it was supposed to pour and then last
Oh,
night
yeah,
it changed and it was
so?
beautiful.
Well, we're hopeful. It's really, of course, it's wedged between sunny days.
Right.
I
So it's
know.
all, it's only gonna
Like every
rain
Saturday.
in the morning.
Yeah, in the morning. I
We're
guess.
Only
hopeful that
when
it breaks
graduation.
because tomorrow and Friday were supposed to be rainy days as well. Those have shifted. I don't know, maybe
Yeah.
the graduation gods will say, yeah, we'll give you a sunny
Good.
morning.
Well, all I know is I hope that it's sunny, but if there's a chance of rain, last year was awful.
And last year we
When that
switched it in.
downpour
right?
came and
We
half the
ended
kids' names
downpour.
couldn't even be heard.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was,
Well,
We made it.
then you're calling it the night before and you having forced
Yeah,
indoor graduation.
that's
So-
Cooper's.
yeah,
was inside
yeah, I
too.
guess,
Yeah.
but we did.
I thought it was great last year. It only rained that
I
last
think
minute.
we're
And it really
hoping
was
to
just
have-
Hunter.
It
Come
was
on.
beautiful. It was like.
His last
Hunter
name's
asked
Pete.
it rained and then walked out.
I thought it was Hunter. No, he was at the end.
So we will make that call tomorrow evening. We'll certainly let the board know, let the entire community know. It'll be a mass notification.
And of course,
How
if
many
it goes to,
tickets
oh,
does
sorry.
each family get?
So I
Yeah,
was
that's
talking
what I
to
was
a couple
gonna
of the
ask.
kids about it today, and I don't know that we're gonna do, we have a pretty high capacity in the gym when we consider the chairs that we have and that we rented in the bleachers, like we have a pretty high capacity for seating, and we have 32 graduates. We can fit more than 320 people in there, so even if they each had 10. So I don't know how many tickets they've done in the past, but I'm not sure, like, we don't do tickets for class day and we don't have a problem, so I'm not sure that we'll for sure do tickets. but-
That concert, there were more people at that concert than have ever attended a graduation.
Yeah.
People, and they weren't even from this town. I never saw any of those people in my life. They were
Yeah.
strangers from all over the place. All right, perfect.
Bring
Okay.
that out.
Right?
I never seen any of them.
I know, it wasn't really, but Kendra doesn't know everyone in town and it disturbs her.
I don't know anybody. All right, it was perfect. Okay, great.
All right, any questions for Anna?
Great job this year.
Yes. thank
Yes.
you.
Such a good year.
Congrats on your first year almost being
Yes.
done.
Yeah, very nice.
And Dr. Brunner's not here, but did anybody have any questions that somebody else might be able to answer? on her report? Hers was separate, so I have to just switch.
And so just so you know, with Dr. Brenner, she had the Reading for Ribby event tonight with the Swamp Bats, and I felt it was important for her to be with her students and staff
Mhm.
members. That was a lot more important because she was able to provide a report to us.
Mhm.
If you have any questions about it, we're certainly able to get those answers to you. And she's comfortable with those.
Did anybody have any?
No.
Good. Do you have
I know,
something?
mine is taking.
Have we tied down the preschool issue for next year?
She wrote
That's
about
in
it.
her
Yeah,
report.
she wrote about
Yeah.
it.
But like, cause I'm hearing that it's going from one of the preschool parents that she was told that her daughter is gonna be in the 3-year-old preschool program in the afternoon. So are there 2 3-year-old preschool programs in the afternoon?
She wrote about, I thought it was one in the morning and one in the
And then 4 in
afternoon.
the
Right, but now,
There's
but
two.
a parent has said that she was told her 3-year-old is in the afternoon.
She
Yeah,
did,
there's
I'm waiting
one-
for it to
It's
load.
my
There are
understanding
two.
Two cohorts.
Yeah, 3-year-old in the morning. and
Right.
a 3-year-old in the afternoon and a 4-year-old in the afternoon.
Mhm.
Because it's two
That's what she
different
said.
Two different,
teachers.
yes.
It's Crystal and
Miss Taggart.
Yeah, and
So
then-
how is that schedule working with? Who are the teachers for the preschool? For the preschool classrooms?
Miss Poochel and Miss
Right.
Taggart.
So
Correct.
she's,
So 2 classes.
And then Ms. Pucci will be
In the-
doing math support in kindergarten in the morning.
in the morning.
Yeah, so that shifted from pulling kids out to co-teaching instead, right? That was. So that'll probably, I'm guessing the teachers are happy, or I haven't heard from them.
No, nothing's loading right now.
Justin.
How ironic, his report's coming up next.
I know, now I have to switch back and I don't know when to get it back. Now I have to switch back and I don't know.
There it is. It's back.
Got it?
I do.
Yeah. You're gonna yell at it.
Are we good to move on or no?
And everybody, all the teachers are on board with what's happening with preschool and kindergarten?
It's funny you asked that because that's the question I asked so that I could have that answer here. The answer to that is a definitive yes.
Good.
Are the teachers in the K and pre-K schedule listed in your board report all in the know about it? She said yes.
Well, I knew in the know, but like, and they feel confident
They-
about what's happening.
They've not expressed anything different to me, and she didn't indicate that they had expressed anything different to her. said, we can always follow up with other questions, or if you want to even have a direct conversation with her, she's welcome to that. She's very welcome to hear it.
So any more questions for Molly's report? IT Director's report. Justin?
Madam Chair, you have my report. Happy to answer any questions.
Good amount of applicants. I feel like we never get that
I
many
know,
applicants for
right?
anything.
It's good.
That's exciting.
Choices, who knew?
I know, that's weird.
Can you explain to me, just because my brain really wasn't understanding, are people, as staff giving her equipment, DG equipment to use?
Stuff that they bought either years ago or
Okay.
even more recently, and it just hasn't been used.
Okay.
I'm not sure what the funding sources were, if it was normal supply lines or what stuff I didn't know about.
Okay.
But she's meeting with certain people, they're like, here, I have this stuff we haven't used.
Great.
How can we use it?
We love that.
Yeah. I was like, they're
Our
really
office is
giving
quite
her?
full of gadgets and gizmos, so.
Nice. Maybe
I
we need to
did
do
read
like an
that.
inventory.
I did read that a couple times too. I was like, wait,
I
it's
don't
coming.
understand.
At first I thought she was bringing it to them.
Yeah.
I was like, that's not what it
It says,
says.
I know, yeah. That's why I was like, I just had a
I
question.
know a good portion of it, Roxanne turned over to her, that was purchased, I forgot who filled in for Roxanne, well, not filled in, but was in her place when Roxanne left the library position years ago. And then,
Yeah.
of course,
She
had-
loved Harry Potter.
I remember whoever it was, loved Harry
She
Potter. Okay.
Yeah, they
Oh.
had purchased some kits of stuff, and it just hasn't been used. It's been turned over to Daisy, and she's gonna start working with people if I never wants to use it.
Sweet. Nice. All right, any questions for Justin? No? Director of Student Services report.
Madam
Patty?
Chair and the other members of the board, you have my report. If you have any questions, I'll answer them.
Congrats to everybody and Kaylee for her baby.
Yes.
That's all I had. Oh, and on your question sheet that people fill out, my favorite memory teaching should be favorite, I'm assuming. Just a.
Okay, where
Oh,
Did
yeah.
you just do a grammar correction?
I did.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I did.
Live
Live
on
and in
TV.
person.
I read it, my
Oh,
favorite.
the amount of things we could get corrected on, and you're gonna start
I know.
poking fingers?
I just, well, because she's, she's interviewing, I just figured somebody should say something. It wasn't to be mean.
in my head I said favorite.
Yeah.
That's what I read.
I had to read it a couple times. I'm like, okay, yeah, it's a favorite.
It does.
Yep, mine read it correctly, so.
I still love these spotlights. I love them.
Yeah, it's-
Thank you so much for those, Patty, because I really enjoy those. Any questions for Patty?
No, that's great.
Good. Facilities, Nate is also not here, but we have his report.
I do have a question that can be sent to Nate. When are we gonna wash this school? The outside?
Oh, I was thinking about that the other day too.
Oh, yeah, it's
July.
bad.
I will say
Maybe
that
this
I'm
summer?
impressed with a lot of the work that's being done, but it looks awful out there.
maybe this
You know,
summer.
one of the problems we have is we have no water source.
I
We're
got a
gonna have to haul it
2,000,
in.
I got a 2,000 gallon fire truck that'll come up there
I
and sit and I'll
will take that
volunteer.
from you gladly.
It has been 3 years I've been hearing people talk about pressure washing in front of the school. It is green.
Yep.
It's greener than
Yeah.
the pool was when we opened it. I will bring the fire truck up and sit here and I will go get another load if they need it. I will volunteer my time. Yep.
It was
The
really
fire
bad the
was
other day at the
probably like a
baseball
pressure
game,
washer.
looking over here,
It's
looking
not
at
mold,
it.
and it's actually getting into the windowsills as well.
Mm.
Yeah.
So
It
it's-
looks
it's
really
not
bad
just
at the
On
baseball
the
field.
outside level, it's on the inside level. There is mold that is in the windowsills. in the
Have them get a
building.
hold of me. and-
The last time it was done was probably about 7 or 8 years ago, and I think it was Greg Palumba, and Greg Maloney who actually did it with a whole crew of people who came up and did it during summer. So it's been years, but it's bad, and black mold is not fun to be in your building.
Yeah, it looks bad.
I have a
Have
question.
him just get a hold of me and we can set up a day. I'm available on Fridays and I'll take a truck out of service and it's got 2,000 gallons on it.
He's gonna get it approved by the chief. He just needs to drop out.
Look at that community building.
Did you say you had a question?
Yeah, I have a question. Is whoever is on the facilities team or something, is the trash a dead issue?
From what I read last time, it said it was that they were too busy to be able to make it work is what the explanation I got.
Okay.
No, okay,
I would not say it's a dead issue.
okay. I just think that I see a lot of things going on outside with people who are very high dollar workers that could potentially be going to the dump rather than doing lining softball
Lining,
fields and
yeah.
baseball fields and.
Yes.
Yeah, we used to have the kids do that, right?
I mean, it's a potential $9,000 a year savings.
And I
think that
will-
the effort, the desire to make it work should lean closer towards where we need to go with it.
And I will tell you, I don't want to bring up a sore subject, but they were bringing some books down to the transfer station with a pickup truck. And they made 6 trips with a pickup truck. They bring down a little pile of books, throw them in, go back and get another pile of books, throw 'em in. Yeah,
I
so,
think the pickup truck was full.
no,
Why
So-
are we throwing books away?
I think
They were
there's,
very old.
They're
Okay.
definitely,
Okay.
we vetted every.
Every one of them, trust me.
We'll use them in our class for organic if we have to.
What, did you see my name in it?
And those books were very old.
Okay, good.
Any more questions?
Nope.
All right, new board business, student board member.
So I had to recruit someone, but I don't know if you might recall in the fall, I had 2 students who expressed interest. Kaylee and one other student who was in middle school at the time, so I said to him, next year you'll be in high school, I'm gonna come back to you. So I went back to him and I said, do you wanna do this? So Jameson Stebbins is gonna be our student board rep next year.
Wonderful. Nice. I love that we already have it chosen too, so we can just hit the ground running
Right.
in September.
so it'll be just one, right? It won't be Kaylee and just one person.
Great.
Great.
Sounds great.
What's his name again?
Jameson Stebbins.
Jameson Stebbins.
And he's a ninth grader?
He will be.
He will be a ninth grader.
That's awesome.
Okay.
Awesome. All right, the Hinsdale Federation of Teachers.
So I'm here today and just. Yep,
I'll sit up here.
Yeah.
Like, over there. Please.
The largest meeting crowd we've had.
I know, it's been a while.
I like it.
So I want to kind of keep this a little bit brief, but then definitely being open up to different questions that you guys may have. I have been in contact with Dr. Ryan and about this discussion. There's been discussions with certain school board members about this in the negotiation process. But first, I'd like to thank you all for allowing us to be on your agenda. And I also would like to ask permission for an employee of the district to be able to speak if they are not a town resident, as the conversation, discussion, decision affects them and most importantly, our students. So we do have a few people who are not town residents, but they are employees of the district. So I'd like them to be able to speak if that's okay, if they choose to speak.
Sure.
Thank you. So I do have a statement that I would like to read and then would be able to respond to your thoughts or questions. I also have letters from students and concerns and comments from other coaches that couldn't make it tonight. But it has came to our attention that there's going to be changes in the stipend positions and coaching staff, eliminating co-advisors and assistant coaches. Given the fact that one of the platforms to join with Winchester was to increase our athletic opportunities, seems very contradictory that we're going to be then removing some of the positions. This would also be a detriment to our students, our athletes, and our coaches. In the event that a student is injured in a game or on a field trip, one adult needs to accompany them to the hospital, who then would be with the rest of the team class on a field trip or at a contest. This has happened many times in recent occasions, and some of the advisors back here can attest to that, both in athletics and on field trips. If a coach or advisor becomes sick, who is responsible for the contest, a fundraiser, or a trip. In the event that the coach may receive a card, which has happened before, does the team have to forfeit? So there's a lot of things that I don't think have gone into the thought process of this. Also including the fact that you're asking maybe potentially one coach to be on a bus alone without anybody else. It's a huge liability for a coach. And I think you're, and not just coach, but advisors and everything, all of that. They are not going to want to be in a position where they're putting themselves on the line, because these kids often do make up stories. And we know this happens. We hear it every single day where a kid says, this person said this person said that. So our school policy, in order for teachers to take a field trip, there needs to be a 10-to-1 ratio. This would not be compliant for either your sports programs or your class advisors. By reducing co-advisors and assistant coaches, you're putting the district and that staff at an increased risk and a huge liability. And you're also decreasing the opportunities for our students and putting them at risk. So that was my statement. I do have letters that were written by students. I have some statements that were sent by coaches. But we're just very apprehensive about this shift. And we do understand fiscal responsibility and the idea that we're trying to kind of bring down some of our costs to our taxpayers, but at what risk for the district and what risk at your coaches and at the advisors.
So as far as field trips and whatnot, we can ask parents to volunteer to go on those. So we have enough adults to do that.
Are you going to background check them before that? Are you going to
If they're gonna be
fingerprint
alone
them?
with students, they have to be background checked.
If they are alone.
Which
with
is an
students,
additional
yes.
cost to the district. I think it's like, what, $90? Well, it's something.
Maria would know.
Yeah.
To start,
We didn't cut the coaches' positions. We cut the
I am
stipends.
absolutely for the change. Our taxes are outrageous. There is a reason why these cuts have come. These cuts have come to not directly affect the education portion of our school. We don't need to fund $10, $12, $14,000 for coaches for 12 kids. When I played basketball, with 14 on varsity and 10 on JV, we had a JV coach and a varsity coach. We didn't have extras. We can't force stipends to be split, but if people want to bring somebody else on, let's get them fingerprinted and they can split it and work together.
So the CBA actually says.
We
that you-
can't force it.
That you cannot.
We can't.
You can't.
We can't force
You
it.
can't split it.
No, you can split
We
it.
can't.
We can't.
You
We
can
can't.
split it. We
Okay.
can't force you to.
Correct. So I think at this point, we're getting into some language issues that are a bit tricky. But again, you're also putting these people in situations. Number one, this has been a precedent for over 20 years, that there's been two positions. And it's to protect people. And I think at this point, you're putting yourselves at a huge liability, never mind the people. And I think you're going to see a drop off of people. And I won't be surprised if all of a sudden people are like, you know what, I don't want to be a class advisor. I don't want to assume that risk by myself. And honestly, I mean, I've been a class advisor since your class, when you were in 10th grade.
Yep, you were.
So I've done it since 2002 then. And it is a huge task. It's also, I mean, I can read the letters from the students. These were 9th graders that attested to it, because all of the other advisors were told that there was going to be positions that were cut. So the advisors have been talking to students. It's my understanding that possibly the senior class would have 2 advisors, but the rest of the classes would not, which to me doesn't make sense either, because the junior class has that much responsibility than your senior class. They're doing prom. They're also setting up, taking down graduation. There's all these other things that the junior class is doing. So if you're going to do something like that, like, it should also go down to the junior class. But some of the points that the students brought up were very clear. Some of the points that the coaches brought up were also very clear. We did not ask for an increase in salaries and the stipends for the past, I think, 8 years at this point. It's been pretty much the same, but understanding and knowing that our coaches are making less than anywhere else. I've been offered coaching positions around didn't take them because one would be coaching baseball up in Claremont, and I'd have to leave work early and that wouldn't work because I can't leave work early. But I'd be making about $3,000 more than our coaches make here. So I do think that I understand, Wayne, your point.
Well, and the
In
other
saying
part,
that we have to look at budget. But I think at this point, you're also reducing like what we can offer for our kids and putting our teachers at a huge risk for liability.
well, we're taking away a lot of what we can offer at our homes too, if we're working 2 or 3 jobs to afford it. And there has to be decisions made, and I appreciate the students' input, but sometimes decisions are beyond that, unfortunately.
So we also rifted 2 positions at the middle school, which was already approved in the budget process. So where is that money going?
Part of the budget.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah, so it was approved at town meeting.
right.
And then all of a sudden, after town meeting, a few weeks later, 2 positions were cut from the middle school, increasing the middle school sizes.
Well, hopefully,
To go-
hopefully back to the taxpayers' pockets.
I'm just I'm asking the same questions, Wayne, that you're asking.
The same
And I'm
place the
not-
money that's left goes. When at the end of the year and there's money, it goes back to the general fund and the general fund buys down the next year's tax rate. It's part of it, and hopefully after that, and then with the portion of Winchester, we don't start budgeting for Winchester until next year, this coming year.
No, I understand
So, cuts that had to be made now were made pre-vote, pre-decision. We can't just keep throwing money at an opportunity until we know the opportunity's there. I mean, unfortunately, that's where it's at. It's not good out there. It's not good.
Wait, I get it. It's not good
And
for me.
and
I haven't
things
had
have-
hot water for 6 months in my house. I get it. So I completely understand that. And that's a true statement. And I don't care that I'm online and everyone's hearing that. That's a 100% fact, true statement. I understand that. But you're putting the district and your teachers and coaches at a huge liability by putting them on a bus by themselves with children and expecting them to be able to go coach. And then what happens if one person gets hurt or anything else? So I'm just gonna stop there and I'd like Katie to be able to speak.
I have a question too, is, maybe you can help me, Teresa, but when I've gone to games or something, like the varsity team has Dan Tatro, Sam Killily, and
And next year, there'll be none of them.
Nate Boudreau, right?
It will be one
So you're
coach.
talking about one coach next
One
year.
coach next year.
But they
Is
have,
what you approved.
but they have the option to bring somebody else on and share the stipend, right? Is that true or no?
That's up to them. So
That's up to them. Okay, that's,
It's
that's,
not up for
it's not up to them?
For how it
It
works
is
is
up to
generally if there's a JV team, the JV coach is the assistant coach to the varsity.
Right,
They
yeah.
work together. Those are stipends are still in the CBA, those stipends will still get
Okay.
paid. That's not the issue. The issue is if there's not a JV team, why would we pay for the coaching stipend when there's
Oh,
no
okay.
team?
I see what
And
you're
Dan
saying.
Tatro is the middle school boys coach, and so he volunteered his time to be at the varsity.
Forgive me if I'm wrong.
We could ask for
but
volunteers.
Isn't there a junior varsity stipend? Because we never know until the season comes whether we're on.
We
junior varsity
budgeted
team or
for
not.
There's your stipend.
So technically, if there's not a JV team,
That
then there's a
person
stipend there that could be paid as a JV coach.
Or as the assistant coach, and that's what's been past practice for at least 20 years.
But from what the conversations we had and the explanations is that there was paid to varsity coaches
Right.
at varsity coaches pay.
Right,
Really?
right.
Because there was evidence shown that it was.
That was how it.
That's how it was being
Right.
done.
No,
That's
so
right.
it's supposed to be if there's no a JV team, the assistant coach gets the JV stipend and works with the varsity coach, and that's been the practice. And if something has changed since then, the last time that I knew about it, then I don't know. But that ensures that you have 2 coaches that are on the bus, 2 coaches that are present for injuries, for times that there are incidental things that happen where a coach all of a sudden has to be removed from the field. Who's taking care of those kids? Especially on away, I mean, you're not gonna find a ton of mothers that go to every single away game. It's not gonna happen. And then you're trusting that person to be liable for their other 14 kids on the team. Katie, I'll turn it over to you.
Katie Savory, citizen as well as middle school teacher and yearbook co-advisor. So Wayne, you mentioned having to get second jobs in order to pay your taxes, right? The yearbook is my second job to help me pay my bills. Okay, I am an employee as well as a citizen of this town. I feel the brunt of the taxes too, as do many of the staff members. And that is the money that ensures that I can take my kids to do something fun over the summer, because otherwise I can't. I can barely afford childcare. So that supplemental income that I receive from my yearbook stipend is for my children's well-being, who are children's and soon to be students of this district as well. When I calculate it out and I take my yearly stipend and I break it down for how much gets cut out of it, because it gets paid in a calculated with my paycheck and taxed at the same rate as my paycheck. Okay, so the $1,900 2 times a year stipend actually becomes $844. Maybe that's not correct. It's hold up.
True, because your teacher retirement comes out of that, all these things come out of it, because we're district employees. So
I understand that completely.
Okay, no, I stand corrected. I looked at my math incorrectly. Okay, I also came here from wrangling 2 3-year-olds at a pediatrician's appointment. Okay, $1,900 gets taxed, nearly $600 comes out of that, and it becomes $1,300. Okay. When I divvy that up to yearly, 10 months, because being a yearbook advisor is 10 months, if not a year-long commitment, which I have been making for 6, 7 years now. Yeah. It comes out, assuming that my outside of teaching pay is around $25 an hour before tax, that comes out to about 10 hours a month. I'll tell you right now, I do way more than 10 hours a month on the yearbook. Probably did 10 hours in the last 2 or 3 weeks. I could list out, I itemize 17 to 20 items that I have to take care of along with Miss Valeretti. I have a family, I have children to take care of. I take on photographing events, keeping in contact with the yearbook company, keeping in contact with the athletic director. I could go on and on and on about all of the minute things that are involved in this position to get an extra $2,600 a year when I already make $15,000 less than what I should for having a master's degree and 10 years of experience.
So
Wayne,
explain to me what you're trying to prove here.
My
I'm
point
trying to
is
follow
that
you.
this extra $2,600 is one of the things that keeps me teaching here, because it helps me pay my bills.
I understand that.
I would think that looking at the amount of teaching vacancies that we have, that we wouldn't want more valuable teachers to leave, because, well, with the pay so low and now this stipend's going to get cut in half, I'm going to be making even less next year. I just put my kids on my dental insurance, my health insurance is going up. I'm going to be making less money next year, significantly. So this may seem like small beans, but it's big to me and the other advisors. This is the difference between me being able to give my kids a good childhood or not, because I make so little for what my degree is really worth. Yeah.
Katie, I 100% agree with you, and I know how much effort you put into it. I know how much effort goes into yearbook. When I was a student here, I was on yearbook for 3 years. many hours I sat with my advisor doing yearbook. I get it. I understand that you go home with your 3-year-olds and you take your work home with you, and not just for yearbook, but for your classes. I 100% get it. I'm always for the teachers. And it is a struggle to be up here and live in this community and either give to you or take from you. And it is really hard to find where to take and where to give. Like, it's frustrating because you're saying that we're taking from your home, and I 100% agree with you. But by giving to you and to everybody else, we're also taking from every other home in this community. So it's, where do we take in this budget, but yet keep education here and keep it the best that we can?
We keep
while also-
education good here by keeping valuable teachers who
Right,
want to
right,
stay
and
here by
that's-
making enough
and that's a
money to
goal.
support their
And
families.
that's a goal, and that's a try, and we're trying here. But also at the same time, it is, you can argue and we can go back and forth. And I'm always for education. I have a first grader here and going through this district right now. I also have an $8,000 property tax in this town. So I get, I'm on both ends here. I get it.
So
Trying to do what's best to ensure that the remaining kids we have in this district are getting the best education, getting what they can get, but also making sure at home that they have what they need at home, not just what they want, but what they need. And that is the goal here for everybody trying to make that choice. And I'm sorry that your home is taking the cut. And I'm sorry that there are things happening in the classroom that aren't happy for you and for the rest of the teachers or for the students. But when it comes down to it, it is at this point what is needed, and in hopes that the teachers that we have here are, it's not taking a cut. It's not, that's not the goal, is to take from your home. And if you think that of us, that you don't know, as we give to this community as much as possible, and you think that's our goal, is to just take from you.
I'm trying to make it real to you that as a citizen and a
it is real.
taxpayer,
I know it's real.
that this is hurting me and other people, and this is going to have a ripple effect.
And I know, and that
adults
makes it
are
hard.
not going to want to essentially volunteer their time for next to nothing being added to their paycheck.
I know, I volunteer my time
here
all the time.
I know, and I volunteer my time.
And I know you do.
multiple
I know you
avenues
do.
in this town
I
as
get
well.
I get paid $0 to come here and leave my 7-year-old all the time. $500 to come here for nothing. Right. So that's what I'm saying, Katie. I'm sorry that it's affecting your home, and I'm trying my best. Just like with Teresa coming up, like, I'm sorry that you're feeling it at home. That's not our goal. But right now, our budget, where else do we take? Where do we take from?
So do you want a lawsuit? This is a liability issue. And I think that's the most important piece.
I mean,
And
we
don't
have a
lawyer
male
here in tow.
soccer
I don't-
coach who
like-
doesn't have we've been able to have assistance this whole time, and we've had a male varsity soccer coach who goes alone and has been doing that for years when
Well,
he could have.
oftentimes they actually travel together.
They haven't, and as a school board
Yeah.
member, I've been like, why aren't both teams traveling together?
But I'm just saying, at this point, like, I'm not here to necessarily continue to argue this anymore. I do take a little offense that it didn't matter what students wrote, that just because students wrote something.
No, and nobody said that yet. We haven't
Okay,
even got to
so
that part yet.
I'm sorry, that I interpreted one of Wayne's comments incorrectly, so I apologize. Because it was kind of like, well, it doesn't really matter, like, people want what they want, but this is where we're at. I just think that you are putting yourself as a school district in a very large liability. And as Katie, the last statement she said, and I said it before, and it seems like this is a moot point because it seems like you're not going to change your mind, but I don't know who you're going to have for coaches and advisors. I've had several people reach out to me about this, and they're very nervous about it. They're nervous about the liability. They're nervous about what's happening when they're on their own. I mean, we had, just got brought up yesterday at a beautification committee meeting in terms of, there was one year where one class was responsible for doing the parking and both teachers got COVID. So they didn't even have an advisor there with them. So myself and a few other people stepped in and helped out with it. We'll do that. We always help each other. But if you have one advisor, if you have one coach, there's no one there to support somebody else. And the injuries, that's a realistic thing. It happened just a couple years ago. Sam had to go to a kid, like with a kid on the bus. Sela had the rest of them, had to take them all home. This is not something that's just like a fluke thing that comes up. And I understand that, and maybe it needs to be relooked at if you guys are under the impression that they're paying 2 varsity coaches. The way that the contract's always been interpreted, it is a varsity coach position. If there's no JV, that the varsity coach has an assistant coach at the JV stipend level. So if that's what not been happening in the past couple of years, which I would find really hard to believe, because that, to the best of my knowledge, it hasn't changed, then that's what it needs to go back to. That's the interpretation. It's very clear in the CBA, stipends cannot be split. So for the board to all of a sudden expect that I might want to have another person with me so that we can be accountable for all the fundraising and the monies and everything else that's coming in, and to be at all of these events and to reach out to parents and to do all of those things, that I have to, because I want someone else to help me, I have to split my stipend. You can't even, I don't think legally split my stipend. What, you're gonna give me a check and I'm gonna give her or him half of it? The CBA clearly says that you cannot split stipends. So I really would like you guys to reconsider this. I don't think it's where you should be cutting costs. I think you've cut a lot of other costs in a lot of other ways. And if you're giving back to the town by rifting 2 other teachers and making our class sizes larger and all those other things, then there's definitely some money there that you could be compensating for.
Could we look at, because before we're paying advisors the same stipend essentially, could we have a different stipend for like an assistant?
Not
Like a
right now.
different
It's
level?
not in the
Well, yeah,
CBA.
not now,
You
but
could
like
do an
going
MOU, you
forward.
could read, there's a process to do this. We've done this before. I mean, this stipend, like I said, these
So at this
stipends have
point,
not changed.
So at this point, our budget for next year is set, right? There's not much we can do about it at the moment. Had we had, had you guys maybe come to us during budget season, we could have maybe figured this out.
When is this formally going to be?
We were, all of our meetings are public. We discussed all of this in a public meetings. It should be in our.
So
I'm
this
assuming
is
it's in our
new
notes.
information that was given to us about last week. And it was also information that we discussed in negotiations, and the
We
HFT.
tried to discuss this in negotiations.
Yeah, and
but-
HFT made a very strong recommendation in understanding and knowing that you may go to this one person thing, that did not happen. And we asked those of you who negotiated to go back to the board and make that
Are we supposed to be talking
knowledgeable.
about this?
We can because it's been ratified.
Right.
It's
Yes.
been ratified?
Yes.
And I'm
Yeah,
not gonna get into
I
it.
think we did our due diligence to the best we can. The only other option at this point in our tax situation in this town is to cut more, and we should have cut more. And we did the best we could, and we worked countless hours to put together an article that the town didn't cut 2 million out of.
I understand that. And I also
Because
understand
the
that there's,
conversation would be much more severe right now if somebody had stood up and did exactly what Jaffrey did exactly what a bunch of school districts around here did, and cut it by 10, 12%. Because the school board didn't do their job. Nobody here is trying to do anything to harm anyone. We're trying to stay afloat until we can hopefully get some new revenue coming in.
I get it.
And they did try, and they did want us to cut it for a second, and we
Yeah.
convinced them to
And
not
guys,
have us cut it
listen,
anymore.
I am a taxpayer. I understand it. I go to almost all your meetings. I went to every budget committee meeting, like this whole season. I understand this. I just don't understand why this was where you decided to make some cuts while you're hanging out your teachers and your coaches basically to dry in a liability issue. I just don't think you understand how unsafe this decision is. And like I said, we all know that we've cut different positions. If that money is going back, and you've got extra money. So put the money back into this and do right by these
We have
people.
no extra money. We have
Okay.
no extra money.
You've got 2 middle school positions.
That is not extra money.
I thought that was
Then
part of
what, then I'm confused about your budget
Not
process.
germane. not germane to what we're discussing.
Do you have a question?
Yeah, so maybe this kind of hasn't come up. My question is, sorry, I'm just already teaching high school and the other co-advisors leader, but what happens if nobody wants to do these jobs now? What if Katie and I decide we can't afford to split it, it's not worth the work, and there are no yearbook advisors, which means no yearbook.
Unfortunately, I feel like the students could lose a lot more important things.
But who's gonna deal with that backlash?
Us.
And I think that's the other part that's really important is that you're missing, and that was the last thing that I said in my first statement, is you are doing a disservice to our students. And that's why we're here. We are here for our students. You guys know me,
So-
I'm here all of the time. I show up to elementary school kids' baseball games because I put the time in to make these connections. And you're doing a disservice if all of a sudden we don't have these programs or the advisors. I'm the current junior class advisor. They begged me in 9th grade. They went to 9 other teachers. Nobody would advise that class. And I said, guys, I just finished advising for so long. I really don't think I have it in me. And they're like, well, we're not gonna have one then. How are we ever gonna have prom? How are we gonna have a class trip? I said, all right, fine, I'll do it for 1 year. And what have I done? I've stuck with them now for 3 years. Like, this is not a personal thing. It's not about me and my stipend. It's about the kids and it's about the liability issue.
So my thing is, Teresa, is you come to town meeting. How many town meetings have we been in these last few years where we have been, before I was even on school board, cut, right? And here we are, we've done everything that the town has asked, right? We have cut down to the bare bones. We have done everything that the town has asked us to do at this point. Majority rules, the town won. We are at where we have been asked to be. Now, if it is not working and you don't like it, speak up and let them know where we are is where we have been asked to be. And unfortunately, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And we have to go back and we have to, people like you who work here, who see it, and the students who feel it have to speak up. And they have to come in and people have to come to town meeting, and the ones who are a part of it, the ones who are in it, have to speak up and be like, look, what you have asked for is not working. And here are the reasons why it's not working. And unfortunately, I hope that you don't make the choice to leave yearbook. And I'm sorry that it's affecting you that way. But if you don't make yearbook and no other advisor steps up and makes yearbook, then nobody's going to do it. And our town will know what they have asked for at that point.
Or the decisions that you made as a board.
That we have been asked to make.
So you
Where
were
else
asked
would
to
we have
make
cut?
Cuts.
And we did.
And you made cuts and you made decisions.
Where else would you have liked us to take the money from?
Oh, I can give you lots of places, but I don't think I want to do it in a public meeting. And the budget committee is an advisory committee. They don't get to tell you what your budget is. They get to advise.
Actually, their budget is the budget that gets put in the article, thank you.
Unless you write it separately.
We have, that's a sub-article,
Yes,
that is
we've done it
their number, and their number passed,
Yeah.
yours didn't.
We tried to not cut faculty. We tried to not cut things that were going to directly affect the education piece and keep the quality here. Unfortunately, some things not everybody is going to like, and we are going to lose some things, but like we asked the budget committee, like, we just need 1 more year and we're gonna have revenue coming in. We're gonna see a change. But this next year, people can't afford heat. They can't afford food. They can't afford, and I'm sorry, but it is our school that is causing these huge issues in homes. 1 more year, and to see where this new avenue can take us with our revenue, to me, it's worth the risk right now, unfortunately. And I'm sorry that it's affecting you guys. That's not the goal here, was never to take away from the teachers. I'm always, anytime in a non-public, whatever, I'm always asking, do the teachers know? What do they feel? How is this? How is this? How is this? Are the teachers happy? Is it this? I'm always for it. So it's not that we're trying to take away from anybody's home. I am always for the health of a child. And I'm sorry that you feel like we're attacking you or we're taking things from you guys, but that's not the goal here. The goal is to keep people in their homes and to keep these children tucked into their beds at night. And if they have to go without a yearbook so that they can have food on their table, I'm okay with them going without a yearbook, and I'm sorry.
And I don't think anyone said that we felt as though that we were being attacked at all. I just feel as though that you did have some very difficult decisions that you had to make, and I understand those decisions, but I think that you're doing the school district and our students a huge disservice by making this particular cut. And maybe I'm wrong, it's kind of a bottom line budget, so you could move some numbers around and you could correct this to make sure that people are protected and that there's not this liability, because that's what's gonna drive people away, is the liability issue. If you ask me all of a sudden to coach a soccer team next year, we all know I don't love soccer, but just let's be philosophical about this. I'm not gonna get on that soccer team with a group of students by myself on a regular basis. If it's an emergency, then sure, I'll step up for the kids. But if I'm only one coach and all of a sudden I can't attend that, then what, the team forfeits? Now you're screwing up the bus schedule, you're messing up the entire school day, or the schools, like the kids' schedules. There's so many things to consider here. And what are you saving? Like, what's the overall cost? $14,000? Like, that's what we're talking about? But you're putting people like out there by themselves, like on an island, marooned, over $14,000? So I encourage you to reconsider, and I know I feel passionate about it, and I know I've probably spoke too much, and I apologize because I've wasted a lot of your time, but I just think that this needed to be out there, and it should have been a conversation that happened well before today.
All right, so at this point, I feel like we've talked it to death.
Yes.
And we need to move on.
Yeah.
So thank you for coming.
You're welcome. Thank you for having us.
And our next one is the school board retreat and goal setting scheduling.
School board retreat.
Yes, this is the one we do before the beginning of the next school year.
Set our goals.
To set our goals for the year. So generally, we have it in, do we do it in August? We do generally do it in August.
Typically in August.
Right?
I have this, the Winchester one is September 15th.
We try and do it before.
That's up to the board chair, sir.
Yeah, can
But you can get the waters right.
Yeah,
there.
that's what I mean. I just want to get a
Can
bottle
I
of
grab a
water.
water? Yeah.
Go ahead.
I just want a cookie.
You want to take a 5-minute break?
Can we take a bio break?
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
Thank
can
you.
I eat my cookie?
Yeah. We're gonna recess for.
It's adorable.
We're coming back into session. At 7:38. And our next is the school board retreat goal and scheduling that for August. And I'm sorry, you said the 15th, you have Winchester, you said?
September 15th.
Yeah, we always
September.
do
So
ours
as long as we
before
don't push
school.
into September.
Or I would like to
Yes.
do it before.
No,
school
yes.
starts.
Wayne and I are on vacation the week of.
The 17th.
The 17th.
Is that all you guys do?
You'll miss,
Of August?
you'll miss go back to school night, but that's okay.
I will, I've already got a note to get truck drivers.
Awesome.
So the 17th of August, you're on vacation?
Yeah, we're 17th, 18th, 19th, and 20th. We're going to Maine.
And the 21st.
Okay. Well, we're coming home.
August.
on
not me.
That's unfortunate because I'm gone August 1st through the 10th. But I'm working.
So does August 11 work?
That would
Yeah.
work. Yep.
11.
What if we did that on Monday night?
Perfect.
And we have the
A1?
school board
Yep.
meeting that Wednesday.
Yep.
Yeah, that'll work.
That's fine by
Yeah,
me.
that'll
Yeah.
actually
We just
work
had
out great.
July off. We'll be all right.
Yeah, that's true. We're gonna hit the ground running.
Yeah,
Nice.
August 11th on Monday.
Retreat.
At what time?
What time?
Oh, sugar, we're away. Sorry. We're doing an overnight as a senior leadership team for a
Oh.
retreat.
Oh.
Okay.
How much for
Our
that?
own
Cancel
retreat.
it.
Too much
Sorry.
retreating.
Tuesday?
It took quite a bit for us to get to that date too,
Did you do
as
a
you can
different
well
day?
imagine. Good job.
At least someone knows. what's
August
going on.
12th?
I'm like,
Oh,
if it's an
no,
overnight,
we're
you
still,
won't be
we're
there
doing
yet.
like 2 days.
Okay.
We're like,
Okay, so how about August 14th,
August 14th.
a Thursday?
Or, well, you're the 15th with the Winchester, right?
September 15th.
Yeah,
Oh.
so
Yeah.
next
So we
month,
could do,
yeah.
yeah.
We
nobody
could do
wants to
August
Friday.
14th. Is
At
that-
5 p.m.?
That works.
August.
Nice.
What time?
5 p.m.
That works. for me.
11? I don't think so. Oh, yeah.
Maria, you put that on the calendar.
So we won't be able to have it at A1 because they're
Oh, they're open.
they're open.
But not in Winchester.
They're never open in Winchester.
Yeah, but she's open
But
for us
she'll be-
before in Winchester.
Yeah, that's
On a
true.
Monday though, right?
I don't
I
remember.
thought
I
it was
can
on
ask
a
her.
Monday.
She probably doesn't have enough staff for that.
But
That's what
her
I'm
son works
saying.
there now.
Oh, that's true. He does. I saw him the other day. So
Yeah,
big.
so that she might be able to. I'll ask her, and if not, we can figure it out.
Yeah, if,
just the
if
board.
she
the board.
can't, we can also change location.
Yeah,
That's
Mhm.
true.
We could mix it up and we could go to Arlington Inn. They have
Yeah.
the
Oh, yeah.
back
Oh,
room
right.
that we used for the first Winchester retreat
Uh-huh.
Okay.
yep.
this past summer.
Could do that.
I'll
That
So
would
if
work.
A1 doesn't work, then we can definitely do Arlington.
Yeah,
Inn.
and I'm sure she doesn't want to try and make that work on a Thursday.
That's gonna be a lot for her, I
Yeah.
would think. I don't want to put them out. They've been so nice to us.
Yep. So the 14th at 5 p.m.
I put it
At
on the Skyline
Arlington
calendar.
Inn,
ladies.
or tentatively at
Tentatively.
Arlington.
Sure, we can say
I just got you
tentative.
so mad at
We
me.
have a couple of weeks we can get a hold of them and figure it out.
I think so.
$300.
5 p.m. board retreat. Okay. Yeah, we'll finalize it as it gets closer.
Mhm.
Did you hear me? I put it on the Skyline calendar, so you've already got it.
All right,
He looks really
August
excited.
school board?
Aren't those Skyline's great?
sorry.
They are.
I'll just shut up.
Yeah.
I'll let you go. Go ahead.
So the August school board meeting date we currently have is the 13th,
August 13th.
which I think works fine. Generally, that's right. That's the,
Yeah, the second Wednesday.
yeah. That's the, what, that's our normal time. Sometimes we'll move it closer
Yeah.
to beginning of school, but if I don't think it matters.
No, it's,
This
whatever.
year.
Usually it's a request because someone
Yeah.
needs something to
For
happen.
vacations and
Yeah.
whatnot, yeah. So I think where the 13th is still fine for everybody, that we'll just leave it where it's at.
Yeah. I don't need
Okay.
to write that down. It'll be on my
Nope.
Skyline calendar.
Handbook prep discussion.
It's a good idea. I should put mine on my side too.
So we discussed
Handbook
last year
prep?
about, this is the handbook for which handbook is this, is my question.
This is, I don't know, Maria?
Well, when I proposed it, it was from bypass agendas, and I believe it was the student.
The student one, the one we hand out next year.
Oh,
Are they being revised?
They're revised.
Always.
Yeah, I was gonna say usually they're.
Well,
they-
sometimes
at the
there's
school
not
level
like
they are.
big.
Have a deadline. Haven't seen them by.
We did talk about a board handbook as well.
Right.
And I
Oh,
sent
yeah, we
samples
did.
to everybody.
Yep.
So I
Oh,
thought.
yeah, and I
we were
really
gonna-
like that.
Oh, good. That's awesome. It's a great start.
Was it a while ago? Cause I don't remember.
So
Yeah,
we're gonna,
remember it was basic.
yeah, it was.
Sorry.
It was.
It was your
But
idea.
like all of the, basically like the beginner orientation thing, like all the info you need
Right.
and
I sent a bunch
Oh,
of
I do
samples
remember.
from other school
Yeah, it was a
boards as
while
well.
ago. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
really
I will
liked it.
revisit that.
Okay.
And so that was gonna be a work that we put together and then I share with the board
Right,
for comments and editing. So we're not trying to recreate the wheel.
right.
Perfect.
Okay.
I would really love that.
Yes, that would be
That would be helpful for us.
Mhm.
very helpful.
And in it, we were gonna also put the communications plan because that's
Oh,
how the
yeah.
conversation
Yep.
started.
Yeah, that's it. So, but this is the student handbook. So,
And that comes from the schools.
right.
Mhm.
Generally, I mean, we get them,
For the August meeting.
right. Is that doable if we keep our meeting where it is?
How dare you call on her with cookie and.
Hannah,
Yeah.
sorry.
See, that's why I
Sorry.
Well, I
scarfed
think
him
it's a little
down.
more
Paid
than cookie.
Is our August 13th board meeting sufficient time to get us your revised copy of it?
Sure.
When do you-
We're not printing it, right? It's just gonna be digital?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it'll be
Okay.
before the back to school night where the
Oh, yeah.
parents
Yeah.
sign off,
Yep.
Right.
but they
And what night is that?
It'll be great.
And that's
Okay.
August 18th, right?
Yes.
The back to school?
Yes,
Yeah, so we definitely need to make sure it's
Right.
approved by then.
yeah.
It's all about the cruise.
Well, planning ahead.
You have an
All right.
assistant principal, get them going.
So by August meeting.
Thank you.
All right, tuition rate for next year. Do we have a number?
Depends how you want to look at it. I don't know if you've got a policy regarding it. I can tell you that a lot of districts take their most recently published number on the Department of Education, which in your case is $25,047 per student.
But
This
that's
is
not
the,
what we
this
use.
is, yeah, this is the amount we would charge somebody coming into our district.
Right, so we back that out. That's a hard number. It's, I mean, we could look at what we are proposing within the Winchester
Yeah,
agreement
that would be my
and make that a standard.
suggestion.
I don't know how that works financially though.
I would not.
Wayne,
But I also think within an agreement with Winchester and a percentage of students we're asking for,
Mm,
they should also have that should be addressed in there, and a single person coming in should be a little bit higher
yeah,
than
that's true.
a school district paying them for our services.
No, I
Right.
don't disagree. That's why the financial impact of it is based
Right.
on the proportion, I think, of students coming in.
And you
Remember,
wouldn't
we
bill,
backed a lot
right,
out.
right, and
But
you
would it be
wouldn't
backed out
bill
of ours?
everybody individually, like, would you still, all the special ed costs?
This
Could we
number
do
is
that?
all in.
this would be, like, one year we had, I can't remember what it was, but we had a student come into our school that wasn't in our district.
Yeah, I recall.
And it was that's the tuition rate we need to set.
Right,
That's like
but I'm
the off,
saying-
the one-off.
Right, so what I'm saying though is what if we have a student tuition in from somewhere that is not Winchester and they have special ed costs, how would we handle? Cause with Winchester, we're billing them. Can
Right.
we do that for anybody or?
I'm just going to put it out there that billing for special ed costs, that takes significant
That's
amount
kind
of
of what I
time.
Right.
figured.
And I'm very worried with that because I was opposed to that decision when the tuition agreement. I was hoping that it could be two different money, but if I need to do that, I need help. To put it, I'm gonna put it right on the table. I will need help to do that
Mhm.
because that takes significant amount of time.
So we don't want to be doing that with a bunch of random districts especially.
I agree with that.
Mhm.
So do we need two?
What
numbers?
is this year's? Because we set one, so what is this year's?
We don't have one for this year. I don't.
Oh, I
believe
thought we
set
did.
one
I thought we
last
set
year.
one every year.
No, I don't think you set one last year.
Oh,
I may
because
be
we
wrong.
were.
And what was it
coming
the year
up with
before? Because I know we had one the year
It was,
before.
I think, lower than your.
20, no, I thought it was in the 20s.
No, it wasn't.
Lower.
Yeah.
It was
For
lower
some
than
reason, I
charging
thought it was like
Winchester.
25.
No, that's how much it is per pupil.
That's what your
Yeah.
actual cost per pupil is 25,000.
So that,
I think that a one-offs, then that's what it is. And every year we look at it, and if revenue comes in and our cost per pupil goes down, then that's what it is. I mean,
I'm just worried about setting a number and then ending up,
like
I don't
what?
want to say like screwing ourselves, but that basically. Because if we end up
I know,
with
but we
this,
screwed ourselves by not having one before. That's what the issue was. That's why we need to set one.
can we set two different numbers?
Can we set it in August with more information?
You can, the policy is clear, it's JFAB, that
Mhm.
the board sets the rate, doesn't say what that rate has to be.
Right.
Up to you. To me, if it's a single student, then the per pupil cost of what's calculated for our students should be the rate that we have any individual student coming in.
Mhm.
We're not having the door get knocked down by people other than folks who live in Winchester to come here.
Mhm.
We're just not. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't be as concerned about putting that number in writing as a tuition cost, because I don't think we're going to have a lot of people that are come now, give it a couple of years.
Give it a couple of
Right,
years, it's
yeah.
gonna be different.
Then
Yeah.
I think we're gonna be looking at
It'll be different,
But in a
yeah.
couple of years, hopefully our cost per pupil has
Yeah,
gone
it
down.
has
Right.
gone down.
It should, because the number of students goes up.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
So
And then you look at the surrounding other communities that may be of interest.
Mhm.
Because the way, just what's happening at the state level
Mhm.
and all the different
Yeah,
pieces
right,
of
who knows
legislation
what's gonna happen.
and school funding. So
Yeah.
if districts aren't looking to cost share
Mhm.
at this point, they're dinosaurs.
Right.
So then, do we want to set it at the, whatever our cost is
Yeah,
then?
25.
25,000.
47.
I'm on board with that, and then we're not sticking our necks out with the taxpayers either. We're not saying other people can come in cheaper than what they're paying per pure
Yeah.
right now.
So then I need a motion.
I'll make the motion that
For
it's
that number.
25,047, is that what it is?
Get right back to you here. Yes.
Make the motion that we set the tuition rate for a student coming in from out of town at 25,047.
I'll second it.
Any more discussion on it? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved.
I just want you to know, he's making fun of my.
I don't believe I
my
made
graph
fun.
of
They're like brother and sister.
All right.
Touching me.
I get to sit over here and hear the little chirps.
So we need a reaffirmation of policy DAF, administration of federal grant funds.
DAF is a policy that you had once approved, but then went through a small addition on page 12 of the policy, which is in the lower right-hand corner of the actual policy. It's page 47 of the packet. It added domestic preference requirement as well as the, how you pronounce that, James? You know, we
ban?
Oh, yeah, it looks like
We
Hawaii.
ban, and the Davis-Bacon Act. And that was because of a case that came out of a local district nearby in an ESSER finding. So this red represents the new language. Nothing else in the policy changed. It's in line with the general assurances that we have already signed post strike through of the 2 executive orders. And so it's in line
That's-
with what we wanted.
Yeah,
Good.
I was wondering, because there is language in there that seems like it would not be in line with the, like, minority and women-owned businesses and saying that we have to, I mean, I like it.
Yeah, that's where the domestic preference comes in.
Mhm.
So, so we would look for the board just to reaffirm it. We just put a new date on that as the board, today's date.
So we need a motion to reaffirm policy DAF.
What were you gonna say?
Okay, I'll make the motion.
Oh, I'll second it.
All right. Any more discussion on it? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Other business. We did have some correspondence from the kids who traveled, which was very nice. Other than that, I don't think there is. There was something, there's something I was gonna, I forgot what it was. I should have written it down.
Yep.
I don't think
It was
we
something.
can talk about it though.
What?
No, but there was something that we were like, oh, we're gonna do that under other business.
Well, tomorrow you and I are going to Concord,
Yes.
What are you doing in Concord?
going to watch the
West
board approve our
Winchester.
tuition agreement.
Wow,
Yes.
that's fun.
There was something, maybe I'll remember it later. Okay, so any other business from anybody else? All right, committee reports. Anybody need any of the faculty that's here currently for their committee report? I don't.
I don't know.
Other
Who am I
than-
mad
What
at?
to do.
Who am I mad?
Anna's face says her.
Anna's like, let me go. All right, so at this point, we'll dismiss Anna, Patty, Justin, Karen.
If you want.
If you can
You
stay if you
could.
want.
You guys are,
More than welcome
thank
to
you for
stay.
being here.
Thank you.
Thank you for this year, for all your hard
Thank you,
work.
guys. That's not done yet.
I know, it's almost there.
Mr.
And I
Carrier
can
is
tell you
staying.
right now, you can just do the, unless Mark went to a selectmen's meeting, I was at class.
Right?
Yeah.
I was in Concord, so,
There wasn't one Monday.
all right, well,
Yeah, they're back, they're on every 2 weeks now.
Yeah.
They're on the-
well, I wasn't, there was no meetings when I was on, so.
I'm not telling her that. I'm not telling her that.
For the committees, I have a bunch of free time now, so if somebody wants to,
The committees are done now, Mark.
Oh, he can take my selectman one.
want me to take it?
That would be amazing.
Okay, I'll take this one. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'd appreciate that too.
I'm now gonna.
I know, he takes it back.
Now I'm not gonna go as a representative.
He's worse as a community member.
All right, so committee reports, budget committee, we have not met since April.
Great.
Community connections, I am posting like a banshee.
Love it.
Right, we love that.
Facilities, maintenance, emergency,
We meet Friday.
Friday.
Friday. Beautiful.
And also, I saw a comment about all of your correspondence.
I-
They would love the communication.
I know, I'm
just
loving
saying.
it.
Love it.
Just saying.
I know, yay.
It took me 10 seconds. You yap all the time.
Ask, I already gave it the last time that we haven't met.
Yep.
Good job.
Legislation, we all know what's going on there.
So
I will say that the EFTs was signed by the governor and the electronic devices
I
was
saw that.
signed by the
Oh,
governor.
I didn't see
So
that.
those are two new things that we'll be dealing with.
So, so
Next
that's
year.
one of those policies that they're gonna.
So is that the
Yeah.
cell
Both of those.
phone?
Both of those.
Yeah.
Education fund accounts
Yeah.
and the cell phone policy.
Yeah,
And it's actually an electronic device policy,
right.
so it's more than cell phones.
Yeah, yeah.
So we'll work through our policy on what it is. We have the law now to support banning. You could ban all electronic devices if you want to. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're paying for them to have laptops. Let's not ban those.
Right.
Yeah. So we'll have to talk.
Well,
about
personal laptops, it says
Because
personal.
does the law state that you have to, or it's up
Yeah.
to schools to be able to?
we have to read the law.
Yeah, from the way I'm
It's
reading
new.
it now, we have to,
A new one.
Yeah, I just.
but we'll dig into it and make sure.
Yeah, it will be
Yeah.
the board's policy on what
Mhm.
drives.
To not even have them in this building?
Perhaps.
To have them like locked away
That's a
essentially.
big discussion.
Yeah.
It's a
Wow.
culture changer for a lot of
Yes.
communities.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it needs a lot more attention.
Yeah,
It's also scary with what happens nowadays. in
Mhm.
schools.
yes,
Mm.
Agreed.
So that's like.
And also scary, the things that can take place because of the
Right.
communication at hand.
Oh, yeah, no.
It goes both ways.
Yeah, no, it does.
Swords.
yeah,
It's both ways, 100%.
I mean, that can happen anytime though.
Yeah.
and they can be disruptive in classes.
No, they definitely are.
So there's a lot, so it's too much to get into.
Yes, absolutely.
Personnel committee, we have not met,
We will meet.
Oh, right.
in,
We got another one coming up.
last Tuesday of the month.
right?
Yep, we'll update you on any hiring that we had.
Select board representative.
We skipped
Excuse
over
me,
policy.
Oh, policy,
But
I
they
skipped
haven't
right over
met.
it.
Skip over me, we meet in 2 weeks.
It's because that's because I wrote my little note about our meeting on yours.
Oh
We're
my-
super psyched, we meet in 2 weeks, thank you.
Have so much fun with that.
Select board representative?
Yeah.
2 weeks? Oh, did we move? We moved it. Yes, we
Correct,
did.
not the,
Wow.
the
I have
24th.
No
to
longer
catch up- I have
Tuesday.
to catch up to that.
I already put it in my skylight.
I know Maria have.
I have someone who's gonna move that, so.
Somebody's gonna move.
And I got a guy.
She knows a guy.
I got it.
Strategic plan
Well, did we
steering.
want to see if the select board person here had anything to share?
We can talk at community
Okay.
thing.
You don't get to say anything else.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Yes.
but they're slackers
Yes.
and they didn't go.
Well, you can speak at the community comments. Strategic plan steering committee.
We haven't met.
Are we? Right now, all that is at the.
It's with
at the-
senior.
Yeah, okay,
We've done our work.
yeah,
So we give you work back.
right, yeah. Tuition exploratory committee,
Haven't met.
wellness.
We were supposed to meet
Canceled.
earlier, but I canceled it
Yeah.
because we've already hit our number for the year.
I know, I was like, love that for us.
Great.
Yeah, and some of the
I was at the
policies,
vet anyway, so I
I don't
wouldn't have
have
been there.
anything for you guys.
some
Is
of the
that-
policies from wellness are actually gonna be on policy.
Yeah.
committee on
We
the
already did
24th.
that.
Is the wellness number you're talking about the,
Number per year, you have like number of meetings.
Yeah, you have to have
Oh.
a minimum of 3 per the state. and I think we already.
We
have
did
4.
more, yeah.
and just because I
5
haven't been on
last year.
wellness committee, so I have no idea.
Mhm.
Are you guys discussing ways to get people to do wellness in order for the insurance discount?
No,
Not at this point.
Okay.
we were just dealing with the policies
we
because they
going to,
hadn't
though?
been done.
I'd like to see some representatives from each building.
Yeah, that really
Yeah,
needs
unless
to
I
be.
stipend them.
Because that is
Right.
where,
Yeah.
You
I
get
mean,
fresh.
I think that's where the conversation is coming from with the wellness, everybody talks about wellness and all the things we used to do.
Right.
That's where it's
That
coming from,
was,
for the
uh,
stuff they used to do in order to get the discounts on the insurance.
Yeah, that is more led by, I think, someone who works here.
Yeah, and we'll, with the changeover, as, well, we had reps come out, they're changing over, some of their plans, so as they roll out the newer stuff, we'll see what they have, but at this point, there's really not a lot that is specific to that.
Mhm.
I am working on trying to get a 2% discount on our property liability, so signing up and getting us signed up for that, which may have, I know it's gonna have different policies, like a seat policy and that type of thing, but it does afford us a 2% decrease, which is a bit.
Mhm. All right, Winchester, Hinsdale tuition agreement. We're going to Concord tomorrow. Yay.
So hopefully we will. hear
Fingers
good-
crossed.
we'll hear
Yeah.
We will hear news tomorrow night.
Yeah.
We'll have news.
Tomorrow night,
Okay.
one way or the other.
Be staring at our phones then.
Yeah. Well,
Well, I mean, both schools
they're
are approving, so
tentatively
hopefully.
saying around between 1 and 2:30. So
So 5:30?
So by sometime after 5. Cause I gotta get home and then
Yeah.
people want to eat. It's the whole thing.
So April will send it to us.
You're in my neighborhood now.
So April will send it to us at 11:59,
Right,
because
yeah.
that's her normal time.
When I sit down, yeah, right, I know.
When she's ready to work.
Yeah, right.
I'm
It
gonna
is,
sleep
it
for
is,
hours.
it is a lot of times when I work. Citizens comments, did you have anything?
No, I just confirm that there will be no July meeting, school board.
Right, correct, yes.
I think it was mentioned also to select board, we are now every other week for the summer school.
Okay.
So your next board meeting is this Monday, okay. Then this coming Monday, okay.
Thank you for being
Great.
here.
Thank you. for
Anybody
coming.
online have any comments?
That's what I was gonna say too. Thank you.
I'll just say, thank you to everyone for another great year and looking forward to next year. Thank you all for everything you do.
Thank you, Miriam.
Thank you.
Can
Anybody
I, yes, can I speak about something that was talked about earlier?
Yes.
Not a problem.
Yeah,
So
that's
I
what
want
this
to
is
just,
for.
I want to make sure that everyone understands that. So we brought up the trash portion of it, about how it's like we talked about, or there was talk about how it's like kind of on the back burner or whatnot.
Huh?
I believe 2 months ago when I came down there, we had an issue. Mark can speak on this with me because I think he was there. We had a malfunction with the trash compactor when we were bringing trash down there. And I believe that I also got an email from the town administrator also that currently right now it's a liability for us to be able to go there after hours, I believe is how it was worded. So I'm still all on board with doing this, but it wasn't that we just decided we stopped doing it. It was an issue where we have to be able to bring it down there every single day. Like there's no way around that. We have to do it. But it being closed 2 days a week, if nobody's there to allow us to come drop it off, and it's also an issue with hours. I can't remember I can't remember what the time is that the elementary school is finished, but I'm pretty sure by the time they're done, it's after the town closes.
Yeah, they close at 3:45, the dump does, and then the kids get out at like 3:20, right?
And then there's still half.
Right.
I don't know how
Half
that
feels like-
impacts until 6, so.
Right. I'm just bringing up the idea that I'm all for doing it. It's just that I have to work with the town to try to figure out a way for me to be able to come down there after and throw it all out if they're not open. And the last I heard was it's a liability for us to go down there.
All right, I'll have a conversation with Mark and we'll pull Catherine in on it and see what kind of what we can work out to make it. I'm sure there's conversations that can be had. So let's go in that direction. And we'll see what be August by the time we talk about it again, but that'll give us some time to brainstorm and try to come up with some solutions to the problem.
And another problem we had is when they brought the trash down, if you remember, Nate.
Yep.
There was a bunch of milk that came out of the.
Oh, yeah, that's.
and it
The milk
went
cartons.
all over the thing, and we're like, in the summertime, what's that gonna be like?
Well, I mean, and I
Is
think,
that something that can be eliminated? I don't know.
I think that we could probably train our children to dump their milk
They
into a,
had a container for it.
With 3-year-olds.
yeah,
Yeah.
into a
No,
container
they
and dump
have
it down
one,
the
yeah.
sink, but
Pretty standard.
Yeah, they have a container kids are supposed, but I mean, try to have someone
I
police the
think in
trash.
that situation, there was like a whole, like, a few cartons that had past expiration. And I think what ended up
Oh, so
happening
they
was
weren't
someone dumped it in
full.
the dumpster.
Okay.
I think
Okay,
that's what
okay,
it
Kitchen
was.
staff should be
That
able to
makes
do
sense.
that.
Yep,
Just saying.
yep.
But yes, I'm all for doing it if we can figure out that way to make it happen. And then also wanted to touch on that. Yes, I am in agreement that the side of the building needs to get worked on. That has been something that we have talked in the maintenance department, and that has we have brought up that not having a water supply has been our biggest reason why we haven't done it yet. But if the fire trucks are willing to come up and help us out with that, I definitely would take that up, or I take your offer up on that one.
Yeah, I'll definitely, if you can reach out to me and I will just communicate it with the fire chief. I'm certain I could even utilize it as a training opportunity on a Friday, be during your business hours, and we can chip away at it for a couple of Fridays. That'd be fine with me. We can figure that part out.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Yep. But
Thanks, Nate.
I had a question for Nate. Nate, you still there?
Yeah.
Yep.
What about the stuff, the material on the playground? Is that being removed, or I thought that was coming to the transfer station?
It'll be yours.
I believe I just got an email today from Dr. Ryan that our grant got approved for that.
Oh, okay.
So it'll be a little bit.
Okay.
Sometime it's going to be a summer project for us for sure.
Perfect. Thank you.
Cool. Anybody else online?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep.
So I just want to say, as far as listening to the tuition talk, I would agree with Wayne on that aspect. As far as, if you have your individual one-offs students coming in, I think we should be charging the same price that we're charging our students. I think it makes sense from the other perspective where with the tuition agreement, we're bringing in another school district. We offer that rate, but I think if we have an individual one-off, I definitely agree with, I think, and Dr. Ryan, I think was the same way. I think we charge what we would charge our normal students. I think that's the smart decision on that. So I agree with that. From my perspective, hearing the conversations earlier with the Teachers Association, I think that's heard. I think as far as the town is concerned, I think we hear that a lot. A lot of townspeople feel that way, that, the school needs that extra money to help, pay those teachers. And I think you guys are doing a really good job this year trying to be accommodating to those teachers, as well as trying to respect the budget and the town, or the town's portion of that budget, trying to help maintain those costs. So I want to commend you guys for that discussion. I'm sure that's never an easy one to have. As most of you know, from my perspective, I would probably agree with you guys, that sometimes it's, where do you make that happy balance? And I think you guys are trying to do that this year with really trying to take respect to the school budget and the taxpayers. So I just want to thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else online? All right. Thank you very much. So we have, oh, my glasses are down here. They were on my head. We need to go into non-public.
I have one more thing.
Okay.
Before we go, I had messaged Dr. Ryan, and it just reminded me a minute ago, is that I would like teacher representatives to come in every school board meeting. Is that something that we discuss now? Because I think it's super important. We have a student rep. I think it's important that we have teachers from the elementary school and the high school be attending each of our school board meetings. I know, like, exactly what our student rep does. Comes in, gives us her point of view, what's going on in the building, and we hear it from the teachers as well.
Is that?
I don't think we can require, especially after
Mhm.
just cutting stipends.
But can
out.
we, yeah, but can we ask if they're
Well,
willing to
they're-
volunteer?
Aren't they
Can we put it
adults
out there?
that they could come to this meeting
Yeah,
whenever
I
they
mean-
want?
But can we put it out there that we are interested in having teachers come, or is that?
So I've mixed feelings on
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
One being that the operations side of the house is something that I'm responsible for.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of time what happens is somebody will come before the meeting at the board level and share things that haven't been discussed with anybody in between.
Yeah.
At which point we're looking at the teacher and looking at the board and we're being asked questions and we have no idea what they're talking
Mhm.
about
Right.
or have not had an opportunity to remedy if it's a complaint.
Mhm.
So we have policy that provides the communications chain of command between staff and the board, and it shall be through the superintendent. And that's a policy that we already have in place.
Right.
I understand where you're coming from, Kendra. The positive side to that is it'd be great to have more teacher representation so they have more awareness of some of the things that are being discussed.
Yeah, like.
Case in
the
point,
stipends.
the advisory, the fact that we're not going to pay full stipends to 2 advisors for the same club, which is very, very different from cutting advisory
Right.
positions. It's very different. So that's the part that would be super helpful. I don't know how to make that happen though. But to give an audience, give the board and the teacher that unfettered access to share whatever it is. I mean, they're welcome to do that during citizens'
Correct.
comments
Mhm.
as
Right,
well.
right.
At which point I'm like, okay, well, there's nothing much I can do.
Right.
There are some policy parameters around that as
Right.
well, but we could talk to both principals and ask them to invite a teacher from each that want to share all the stuff that's happening at the building level, as long as it's nothing that the principal hasn't heard yet.
Right.
You know what I mean? Not to censor them, but just to,
Right.
gosh, if it's going to be a problem that's happening, we'd like the opportunity to fix it
Right.
because it could be
Right.
solved very easily before it comes to the public level.
Well, and if it's
Yeah.
something
Well,
that could end up like as a hearing and we've already
Right.
heard.
Yeah, we can't
Then I don't even know what we would do.
Yeah, and my point's not even like at the problem level, just at the know-how level, like tonight. Like that's a good example.
Right. And I know
Then-
some teachers do watch
Yes.
our meetings because they are up. So I know they might not attend, but the recordings are watched. Maybe we should make sort of an announcement. I know at the elementary school level it happens. I don't know, it doesn't seem like it probably does at the high school level. So they know like our meeting, you don't have to do it when it's happening. You can go see our recordings because, we do make decisions about what they're doing.
Yeah, and policy decisions are sent. Maria does a nice job of making sure any policy changes are sent to all staff.
Oh, okay.
But we
good.
talk about this when we're at budget time as well, is that there is a level of responsibility that comes with an educated citizenry. And so people, before they came to the tuition agreement conversations, the forum, when they go to vote, we put so much information out for people to learn about and review, to be prepared to do that. And then we offer more at those public hearings, to the
Mhm.
point where Dan actually said, you should be doing a presentation at school district meetings so people know what they're voting for. I think prompted some feelings of, well, what have we been doing for the last 2 or 3 months then?
Right.
But I get his point too, because then you could reach more people.
Right.
and help
Then you
inform more people.
guarantee they're consuming.
So there's that expectation too of adults who maybe they don't live in town. So maybe they get a pass on being expected to review the board. Larger districts use a communications person that put out the bullet points.
Yeah.
I don't think we have the bandwidth for that right now.
I don't think so either. I think like we lost a lot of parent involvement over the years and we're trying to build that up and we're doing things to encourage the parent involvement and trying to get them back in. And I think it'd probably be important if we also lost teacher involvement with us. So I think maybe if we put that effort in to get teacher involvement back and just be like, hey, we'd like to see some teachers there. We'd like to see more activity there. Like, please come, like if you can, like just put that effort out there to show that we do want them here, we do want them. Even if we just one teacher per meeting, like, it's fine, like, it can be whatever. If we put out, we'd like to see their faces. They have the invite personally from us rather than, yes, everybody can come, but if it's a little more personal, maybe we'd see more and put that effort in. I don't know.
But with the CPA, if we say we would like one person to come, we have to pay them to come.
Well, if you're in
No,
being
you-
invited.
If you are being
right.
invited, you have to pay them, just like even us non-union at town, if we're requested to go to the selectmen's meeting, we get paid for it.
Yeah. We could also, very simply just send the minutes to staff.
Oh, no, that's a good idea.
You could.
What do you think, Maria? Is that a big lift for us? And once the
Once they're
minutes
all
are-
made up.
Like once the ones you approve,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
you're talking about the ones that haven't been approved yet.
I think we should be sending the approved ones.
Well, the drafts have to be
Right?
posted within 10
Yeah.
days anyway, so.
Yeah, so
We could send
sending,
with the draft, with that draft ink, but that. What's that called? The faded draft over
Yeah.
it.
The public minutes,
Yeah.
non-publics, we could just either, that or the link to where the minutes are posted.
Right?
Hey, everybody, just a reminder, there were some items discussed at the board meeting.
Right.
Here's the link to the minutes if you wish to review them.
yeah, I think, I like that.
So there's a way of at least informing people
Mhm.
after. But we could ask the principals to invite teachers. We really want, or
Right.
the board
Or
members
not even invite them, but hey.
personally
a reminder.
inviting them. So we like
Right.
more.
Or if you want to
information.
brag about your students, we love seeing artwork.
Right? Yeah. I mean,
I
I love
miss
it when
the
we get a
PTA
presentation, so
spotlight.
I'm all for
I
that
know.
every
Yeah, we
month.
want to do that every month. We want
Yeah.
to bring kids every month.
Yeah.
So does that get you kind of where you were thinking?
Yeah, we don't even have to do it. I mean, I was just
Okay.
asking. I didn't know that we had to pay them. So see, you learn something new every time.
Yeah, it's just, I think there are ways that we can better communicate
Mhm.
with faculty after meetings. It's
Mhm.
always been a goal of ours. It's just, the meeting happens and the next day starts and you're
We're
on
just
to the next
moving
thing.
Right,
on,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, link to the.
I could use an
minutes.
ELO student.
Oh,
Oh,
There
she's
you go.
gone.
Oh,
Dang it.
next.
Gotta write it down so you remember to tell her.
So
Give me
Right?
someone.
what do we need, a motion to go into non-public?
Yes.
Yeah. I would like to make the motion to go into non-public.
Hi.
everyone.
Good
night,
night,
Mike.
Thank you. I'll second.
I like your new shoes.
Roll,
No call.
roll call, yes.
Get
Yeah.
out of here.
Mark and Kendra.
Yes.
The
No,
picture,
yes,
the
yes,
finger
yes, yes.
picture maybe?
So we're in non-public under, I can't remember what the letters are.
One of those letters.
Yeah,
Mine are A.
and ours is the, whatever.